or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the flagship station of your Sacramento Kings.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlade with your Sactown Sports headlines. The NBA postseason is finally here with the Sacramento Kings taking on the Golden State Warriors for the first NorCal playoff series ever. Kings are the 3 seed and will have home court advantage for the series over the 6 seed Warriors. You can learn more about the entire matchup with Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's preview on SactownSports.com, and you can listen to every Kings playoff game called by the G-Man right here on Sactown Sports. The NBA play-in is also set, and tomorrow that gets underway with the battle of the 7 and 8 seeds. It starts with the Atlanta Hawks. They host the Miami Heat. The Los Angeles Lakers host the Minnesota Timberwolves. Those are your sports headlines. Now let's get started with our Kings playoff run with Whitey Gleason and Chris Watkins.
Northern California, right? This is the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Kevin Michael, Whitey Gleason, thrilled to be with Chris Watkins. Chris, I know nobody needs any help getting ready, but we do have a week to go before we get game one. I got to tell you, though, as excited as I am to have the Warriors playing the Kings here, it was really weird for me yesterday to be rooting for the Clippers. I felt like boy, Russ is bringing it today. I felt like, who am I?
Yeah, it's not an enjoyable experience to ever root for Russell Westbrook and root for his success. But it was really strange yesterday watching down the stretch of that Clipper game, really being like, yeah, like we kind of want the Clippers to win. Mm-hmm. It was very, very strange. But you know what? We did get, especially from our perspective here, having to talk about this, we got the most entertaining series by far in this postseason, and I cannot wait to talk about it this entire week and much more.
Well, here we go. How about it? A lot of Kings fans are excited to be playing the Warriors. How excited should Kings fans be playing a team that's on a roll now? They've won 8 of their last 10. They're the defending champs. They're the Warriors, blah, blah, blah.
Should be pretty nervous. I think a lot of Kings fans, it has a lot to do with the pedigree, right? I mean, it's you can't just ignore the 4 championships, the last year's playoff run in a kind of similar situation, not an exact similar situation, but pretty similar. You have to, as a Sacramento Kings fan, you have to feel good about the season that they just put together, and there is a lot for Kings fans to feel good about in this series, but you'd be naive if you look at this series and you feel like the Kings are just going to roll through this no problem because the Warriors are 11-30 on the road. This is not an easy. I think everyone knows that, but there should at least be a little bit of worry in every Kings fan here.
The Warriors could be. I mean, obviously they're staving off the inevitability of their decline. Mm-hmm. They could be a fading champ here. Could be. They played well yesterday.
Right.
I don't know if you saw how much the game you saw yesterday. The only ones who gave up more baskets yesterday than the freaking Easter Bunny were the Portland Trailblazers in the first quarter. I was watching that game. Oh, my goodness. But you've got a team that maybe they're fading against a team that could be on the rise. You never know in pro sports. You never know in basketball. You can't assume that this is just the beginning for the Kings, but it might be. So you might have just kind of a power balance shift going on right now before our very eyes.
Power balance. Pavilion now.
In the Pacific Division and right here in Northern California.
Yeah, and to me, that's a huge storyline heading into this. Just like you're saying, I mean, this this could realistically, if things don't go well here for the Warriors, this could be it. I mean, Draymond Green could be gone after this season. Who knows what other moves they make? But the Kings could realistically kind of, I don't want to use the term end, but I mean, they could kind of end the Warriors dynasty here.
Right.
And what a story that would be, and what a feeling that would be for Kings fans, I'm sure, after being treated, and there's so many different storylines to attack with this series, but with the little brotherness kind of it all of San Francisco kind of being that big, pretty big city, a lot like how LA treated Sacramento as well. It's a lot of those same dynamics are brought up in this series here. So I know Kings fans are excited about it.
Yeah. Isn't it remarkable? And I talked about this a couple days ago. A lot of people are talking about it, but the fact that this is the first time the Sacramento Kings and the Warriors have been in the playoffs at the same time. I know, I think it was Jay mentioned today that the last time the two franchises were both in the postseason was 1975, which I actually remember, but it's incredible. So they're both finally in, and then boom, you're playing each other.
Yeah, that is pre-Sacramento times even. So there has not been a time where the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State, was Golden State San Francisco at that time?
No, they were still Golden State.
Yeah, I mean,
and then that was the year they won the championship.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I don't like to hear that, but I mean, it's been so long since I think this is also the first time that all 4 California teams have made the postseason.
How about
as well.
The great state of Texas, Chris?
Yeah, well,
Ofer.
I believe they got Ofer, right?
Yeah,
0 for 3 with Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston. I mean, it's big for California. It's big for NorCal. Either way, the Kings yesterday were either about to play the Clippers, they were going to play the Lakers, they were going to play Golden State. So we knew it was going to be a big series heading in. But there's the Golden State, the San Francisco, Sacramento element of this cannot be overstated enough. I think that this is a huge moment for Northern California, really. I mean, this is like the Battle of the Bay, the Giants and the A's all over again, it feels like. I mean, I wasn't here for around that time, but I can feel that there's probably going to be a similar level of animosity between the two.
That's one of the things that makes it so exciting. I don't think anybody's sure what it's going to be. It may be like that because it's been dormant for so long. Yeah. And it's got the potential to be in some ways greater than some of those rivalries. But will it be? Well, it depends what happens over the next few days. Now, I heard that there were some Warrior fans at the Golden One on Friday. Yeah, and I feel sorry for people there that all excited about what they were hoping would be a dog fight, ended up being a puppy fight. But I heard, right? I mean, I understand it, but still,
for sure.
But I understand there were some Warrior fans that, light the beam after the game.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. I mean, especially with we were talking with Brian, our PD, before we hopped on today.
Is that who that guy is?
Yeah, that's who that guy is.
All right,
I know.
Good.
Yeah, we don't just let him in, and he's not.
He's a nice guy. And everything. I wondered how he got in. And nice office too.
And we were to me, it's at least from sound wise, it sounded like there was a majority Warrior fans in that building, and that's another great story angle to follow here is what are the home arenas going to look like? Is it going to be a true home court advantage? The Warriors have, I mean, that's been a saving grace for them this season is their home record, whereas Sacramento's really struggled at home. They've had that home court advantage in terms of the crowd. We know how electric Sacramento Kings fans can get, but their record hasn't really spoken to it. And so how will Golden State fans infiltrate G1C, and will it be kind of like what we heard on Friday where it's a majority Warrior fans, or will the Kings, this is the first playoff series they've had here in X amount of years. Will it be packed with all Sacramento Kings fans who are determined to keep their seats within Sacramento Kings fans? To me, I think that's honestly a really big thing that could play out during the series. If the Kings home court doesn't feel like home, then that's obviously a major advantage to the Warriors. And that's just something that the Kings really can't afford, is to lose home court advantage like that, because that is the advantage of being the upper seed in here, right?
Yeah, they're going to.
I think you got to look on the other side too, Chris. I've been seeing a lot of chatter online about Kings fans saying, like, I'm just going to go to San Francisco for the games.
Right, exactly.
So don't be surprised to see a lot of purple for Game 3 and Game 4.
100%. Yeah. We're talking a lot about Warrior fans infiltrating Golden One Center. 100%, Chris. Like, can they make Chase Center feel like a home environment to some extent?
This is the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Kevin Michael, Whitey Gleason, Chris Watkins. I have a question for both of you, Chris's.
Ooh.
We know that the Kings, for many years, things haven't gone especially well, while the Warriors were winning multiple championships. So the crowd at Golden One, so many people that were Warrior fans. Obviously, some of them are Warrior fans that made the trek from the Bay. You know, there's nothing like that drive up I-80. You know, Vacaville, Fairfield. It's beautiful, no question. But how many of those fans do you guess are people who are Sacramentans who got tired of the Kings and decided, I'm hitching my wagon to this other NorCal team?
Yeah. I mean, I've been talking about that for a while, of just like, especially, I mean, I think of it more from the kids' perspective, but there's tons of adults as well. But how many, it's just a lost generation if you're looking at it from the Kings fan perspective. Like there's, and it doesn't, I mean, not only were you bad, were you not making the postseason for 16 years, but during that same exact time period, the Warriors were running off maybe the greatest era of basketball we've seen ever, point blank period. And so there's so many Warrior fans, so many potential Kings fans that then became Warrior fans. I do think that there's an element of, and you know, you bring in the pandemic as well, how many people moved from the Bay Area to Sacramento. I think that there's a lot of just Warrior fans, you know, not even bandwidth, just Warrior fans in general that now live in Sacramento that we could be dealing with. Chris, do you feel the same?
Yeah, I think if you're under 25 and you're a Kings fan, I've got nothing but respect for you.
Right.
Because you stuck with this team when you're seeing all your friends just cheering for the Warriors every single season. I think the first time the Warriors even won the championship, I think we're excited, just like, hey, NorCal, that's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then when you keep winning and just shoving it in their face, it's like, all right, calm down
old.
now.
Yeah.
It got old real quick.
One of the storylines, of course, we'll be talking about the storylines all week long, and the fact that the Warriors have so much more playoff experience looms as a potentially big factor in this series. I think a lot of that will be mitigated by the fact that, the Warriors have a ton of playoff experience, but so does Mike Brown, who's coaching the Warriors and coaching the Kings. Not only does he have playoff experience, he knows the Warriors about as well as anybody except their own coaches.
Yeah, and it's going to be huge, right? Not only
it could be,
it could be, it really could. I mean, especially, you know, you get down to a tight situation, Mike Brown can know, oh, I know Steve Kerr's playbook like the back of my, I might not know the exact play they're going to run, but I know they're probably going to try and give, maybe they tend to use Steph as a decoy in this situation and they like to go to Clay, just things like that. You know, you just know the ins and outs of how that coaching staff likes to think. You also know the ins and outs of the players. You were talking earlier about, you know, knowing, oh, Steph really just loves to drive to his right or whatever. Draymond, when he gets to the post, really loves to that
point. Excuse me, but
no, you're good.
I was talking about when the We Believe Warriors beat Dallas, when
that's
Don Nelson was coaching the Warriors, and he knew, you know, that was an 8 seed against a 1 seed, the Mavs, but he knew every time, all right, guys, every time Dirk gets the ball, a high post, he's going to spin this way. And they took him completely out of his game because he knew their game so well. There could be, I don't know specifically what it is, but there could be something similar with Mike Brown and the Warriors.
Right. And that's huge. I mean, that is so big. And it's just the little moments like that, just like you're saying. It's not going to be the big game, but, oh, Mike Brown's can scheme up a game plan that'll completely destroy the Warriors offense. No, that's not going to happen. I mean, you know, there's only so much scheming up you can do, but it is knowing the little things like that, knowing the tendencies, letting his guys know what that, you know, in the scouting report, what they can look for. To me, that's where having Mike Brown for the Kings, it's a huge advantage for this specific series in particular.
Chris, what do you think of this notion? Both these teams shoot a lot of threes. It's a make or miss league. It's going to come down to who makes shots. That's who's going to win this series. Who makes more threes?
It's going to, honestly, it's going to come down to the other end of the side. Who can actually play defense? Who can slow down the other team? Because both of these teams are incredible shot making teams, are incredible 3-point shooting teams as well, and just offensive juggernauts in total. To me, the big thing is going to be who can step up on defense. Can the Warriors slow down the Kings a little, make them uncomfortable, let that experience kind of start to weigh on the Kings? Can they make them feel like, like we haven't been in this situation where our offense isn't historically great, where things aren't really humming, and we have to rely a little bit more on the defensive end? Can the Kings make the Warriors, you know, make them a jump shooting team? Don't let them get easy points in the paint. Those kind of things. That's going to be huge for Sacramento, and for the Warriors as well. Just the defensive end. Who will step up?
I agree with you on that, and I think that's going to determine who makes more shots, is who's able to discourage the other team from getting to their spots. And let's face it, from the Kings standpoint, that's a pretty daunting task. You haven't defended well all year, and I know you can parse this number or that number, fourth quarter on the road, but having to step up your level of defense in the playoffs against the Warriors, that's probably the Kings' biggest challenge.
It's also a lot easier said than done, right? I think a lot of teams have been trying to slow down the Warriors for a very long time now. And having Mike Brown, like we were talking about, is a slight advantage, but it's just not that easy. And these guys are 4-time champions for a reason, and they have that experience, and they're going to come in feeling really, really confident about themselves and about the series coming into those games. So the Kings are going to have to overcome that.
This is the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Chris Watkins and me, Whitey Gleason. I know we're just getting started here. It's only Monday, but coming up, we've got the absolute key to this whole series, Chris. The whole key to the whole thing is coming right up. Don't go away.
Don't miss it.
Sactown Sports 1140, SactownSports1140.com.
The last time the Kings won the Pacific Division, Weber and Peja were rocking Arco Arena.
Weber with a rebound. Kings break out. They've got 4-on-3. Right wing feed Christie. Touch pass. Peja behind the back of Weber. Power jam with the right hand.
20 years later, Fox and Domas have turned Golden One Center into a madhouse.
Fox to Sabonis. Sabonis scores in the low post.
Congratulations to the Sacramento Kings for winning the Pacific Division title for the first time since 2003.
And the Sacramento Kings have just won a Pacific Division championship.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave telling you something you already know, which is your time is important. That's why at American Energy Heat and Air, they make shopping for a new furnace or air conditioner easier with their new online quoting tool. All you got to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote now, today. Do it right now. It'll help you determine what system you'll need to get and provide the best pricing options, all from the comforts of your home. You don't have to have somebody come out and walk around your house and blah, blah, blah. Just do the quoting tool. It's so easy. AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. I absolutely love these folks. 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com, making the uncomfortable comfortable.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Sactown Sports Playoff Push continues. Kevin Michael, Whitey Gleason, Chris Watkins. And what's the plan here, Chris? We're going to be doing the show 10 to 2 until the Kings win the NBA championship.
Yep, that is the plan.
Because that could be a few years. I mean, that could be that could be which is fine with me, actually.
That's totally fine with me. I'm A-okay with that.
As long as the Kings are playing in this postseason, we're going to be with you 10 to 2.
Yep.
Tremendous.
So great. I know. It's a pretty good gig.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good to me,
I know.
Once all the bad stuff.
Hey, Whitey, could you come on and talk basketball with us? What do you need? 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours? Yes.
Yeah.
I'll pay you to do it.
It's the best time of the year right now.
I got to say, I did think that maybe we were going to be talking a little Masters and WNBA draft today, but I don't know.
We can maybe squeeze it in the third hour or something. Maybe
we're going to do that.
Yeah.
I must have been hallucinating yesterday, so focused on everything going on with the playoff permutations, because I glanced, I had different TVs on in the house. We had people over, and at one point I glanced at the TV. It's like, Phil Mickelson's second. I haven't even had anything to drink. What's going on?
I had the same exact reaction where after the night was over, I was looking at my phone, just checking the updates and the scores and stuff. And I saw Mickelson and I was like, there's got to be like some new 25-year-old golf. Marty Mickelson. Maybe it's his nephew or something. And then I look and I see P. Mickelson. And even then I'm like, all right, Paul maybe. And then I click and I'm like, sure as hell, that's Phil Mickelson, second place in the Masters. Who would have? Good for Phil, I guess, right?
Yesterday was the first time I really watched NBA Crunch Time on NBA.com. Yeah,
it's interesting.
Really filled the void yesterday.
Yeah, little. It's like Red Zone, right?
Yes,
that's like kind of the theme of it. It's like an NBA version of Red Zone.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like the idea. I don't know if they've really figured out the execution of it yet.
Yeah, well, yesterday was the perfect day. Perfect. If you're doing it on a Tuesday, it's like, no, let's go to Cleveland. Well, I love basketball, but really,
really Cavs Hornets. Yeah, exciting ending.
Yesterday it was like, all right, here are the Hornets and the Timberwolves. Maybe the Pelicans and the Timberwolves. At the same time, we had, like I said, come on, Russ, give it to Kawhi, throw it to Kawhi, you idiot. Yeah.
Yesterday was it was an incredible day of basketball. You know, the Easternness of it all, everybody, and then the time. I really liked how they did the times as well. The staggered times of 10 a.m. start and then the 12:30 starts. Well, I think the NBA did a pretty good job of yesterday.
They did. Tempers flaring despite the Easter
holiday.
Oh my gosh,
yesterday. Yeah. Besides that,
woo, we'll talk more about that. Yeah. All of a sudden, that whole Draymond punching Jordan Poole thing maybe doesn't look as bad when you've got going on team benches during games.
At least they had the decency to do it in practice, right?
Yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah. Well, here I think this could be the key to the whole series. What do you think of this, Chris? Chris, dear listener, whoever gets in more foul trouble, Sabonis or Draymond Green, I think that could be the single biggest key to the whole series. And I wouldn't be surprised, NBA playoffs being what they are, when they play here, Draymond Green could be in foul trouble. When they play at Chase, Sabonis will find himself in more foul trouble.
Yeah, that has been the talking point that I have been trying to slip in for a couple months now, but didn't want to go too hard on it because I do feel like it's going to hurt when it happens.
Go there. Let's go there.
Because now is the time. Domantas Sabonis, it's just a fact. Domantas Sabonis is going to find himself in foul trouble at some point in this playoff series, if in this playoff run for sure.
If the Kings win the first two games, which I'm not saying they will, if they do, Sabonis will have 3 fouls in the first quarter.
At Chase Center,
right? I mean, he will. That's just the way it works.
That's how it goes. Yeah. It's unfortunately what we've seen too many times, and Sabonis finds himself. He's the Kings' only center. It was the issue at the trade deadline. It's the reason why everyone wanted the Kings to address the backup center at the trade deadline. When Domantas Sabonis finds himself in foul trouble, if he has to play 34 minutes or less in a game, the Kings are going to find themselves in real trouble. They can't. The problem was they just couldn't replace it. I mean, and he's an incredibly efficient scorer. He's great at their offense runs through Domantas Sabonis. They can't just replace him. They can't put Alex Len in there and have him do the same things. They can't put Trey Lyles in there and do the same things. Chimezie Metu, same thing. And that's an issue for the Kings. If they have to get 15 to 20 minutes out of their backup center, they just have to play so differently. And Domantas is such a huge piece of not only the scoring, but the assisting, also led the league in rebounds for a team that's not a good rebounding team. They're just a different team and obviously not as good of a team when Domantas Sabonis can't be on the floor. So when he does find himself in foul trouble, it's going to kill this team. Thankfully, he's been learning how to play with it all year long. It's a problem that we've seen, bring its ugly head around a couple times this year, but the Kings have never really found a solid solution for it.
Yeah. One of the things that was interesting about the Kings after they made the trade for Sabonis, a lot of people, not just fans or, cynics, but people who know the NBA said, Sabonis and Fox, neither one of them are very good defensively and neither one of them really spaced the floor.
Right.
Well, this year, I think we've seen improvement defensively, and Sabonis has always been seen as a guy he's a willing defender, just not the quickest, but he's been an effective defender, more effective this year. Fox has worked on that aspect of his game. And also they both have, and Fox, obviously his numbers have tailed off, but Sabonis' three-point shooting is up, and they've both been floor spacers as well. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Kings surprised a lot of people.
Yeah. No, and then you bring up the Draymond, to talk to the Draymond point of it, he does a similar thing for that Warriors offense. He is also a huge catalyst of the ball moving around. He averages, I think, 6 or 7 assists per game in that Warriors offense. So he's a big part as well. Everything I just said for Sabonis could equally be brought to the Draymond side. And if not more of an emphasis on the defensive end of things as well. As we know, Draymond is still one of the best defenders that we have in this league. But also, I mean, that's the Warriors are already a team that really struggles with size. If Draymond finds himself in foul trouble, that then puts a huge emphasis on Kevon Looney to do a lot of the work, a lot of the dirty work, especially.
Kevon Looney's amazing.
He's
really incredible.
I wanted Kevon. I mean, he seems overqualified at this point, but I thought he would have been a perfect backup center for the Kings to bring in this offseason. I could have pictured him at being like a perfect, everything I just said about the Kings' faults at backup point or backup center. Looney to me fills in perfectly. I think he's almost underutilized in that Warrior system. I think he's a really good ball mover as well.
Yeah,
we saw him on Friday.
Numbers are incredible.
They're really, really good. Yeah. And I just think that since they have Draymond, they kind of don't utilize that aspect of his game. But I'm a really big fan of Kevon Looney. I think I think he's going to have a huge he's going to have a huge impact in this series. We saw on Friday 16 rebounds. Granted, Sabonis didn't play, but that's going to have to be a huge part of Looney's game in this postseason, is just being a rebounder for this team, a team that really lacks just overall size. I mean, Looney, who are their bigs? Anthony Lamb, Looney,
they don't really
and Draymond and JaMychal Green. They just don't have any true bigs,
like
right?
Their backup center,
and he doesn't like to play big, right? That's kind of the whole thing. So,
what about James Wiseman?
Just kidding. Well, he's doing well in Detroit. Okay. Well, Detroit. So I think you're completely right. I definitely see foul trouble on either side being a huge. It's going to decide at least one game for sure.
Extra possessions are going to be key, and Looney is such a good, great, really offensive rebounder. And he's almost like an outfielder. He stands there on a long shot. He knows where it's going to go, and sometimes his back's to the basket, and he's making these over-the-shoulder.
Willie Mays catches.
Yeah. What's the matchup that really has most of your attention? Is this opportunity for Fox against Steph Curry now to really start to build his legacy and reputation?
That's an excellent point. Right. I mean, we were just talking before the show started, the Kings options heading into this postseason were Steph Curry and Clay, LeBron and AD, Kawhi and Paul George, pick your poison. And, you could argue that they have to say the same about Fox and Sabonis. Their names just don't quite hit the same yet. And the playoffs is where you make your name. That is where you kind of get a little bit of gravitas, and your name starts to mean a little bit more once you have postseason success. So absolutely, if De'Aaron can do what he's done this season and do it against the Warriors as well, I think it's going to be huge for his name and just the value of hey, you have to play De'Aaron Fox tonight, and just that meaning something, carrying a little bit more weight, and kind of instilling some fear into people.
How do you? We're just talking here, you and I. How do you like his chances to actually do that in this series?
I like it. The Warriors have really struggled to guard De'Aaron. They don't, I think
Warriors have struggled to guard a lot of people.
Right.
I could have been better lately, but they really have struggled.
The Warriors, the key to the Warriors' playoff postseason success has been Klay Thompson taking out the other team's best guard or their ball handler. It's been what they've done in every single final series, especially. They always just stick Klay on the ball handler, and that's been their answer. Well, unfortunately, Klay Thompson isn't the defender he used to be. I think offensively, he's finally started to get back to where he's been, but defensively, I just don't think he's there yet. And so that's going to be the interesting thing: who can they put on Klay or on De'Aaron Fox? Obviously, they've added Gary Payton II. He's been incredible. I expect him to make De'Aaron's life hell, but I think De'Aaron Fox has just been too incredible this year, too unstoppable. I just don't know how you prevent him from getting to his spots.
We're just getting warmed up on the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Chris Watkins, Whitey Gleason. Coming up, the Kings are not the team Warrior fans think they're getting. That's next. Sactown Sports 1140 and SactownSports.com.
It's Kettles and Rami.
I don't know. Do teams hang? Do you get? First of all, does the NBA send you a division banner?
Unfortunately.
A division championship
Look
banner.
around Arco Arena. Yes, unfortunately.
And teams hang them? Put it in the bathroom. Yeah, exactly. Jarvis, the janitor. They're like, Jarvis, you want this? We're just going to throw it away, man. We got this. It says division. I don't know what that is. It says division championship. It's yours if you want it, Jarvis.
Kettles and Rami. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Sactown Sports.
Let's cheers to the champions. Join us for the 50th anniversary of the 1973 World Series Championship team with a pregame ceremony on Sunday, April 16th. Celebrate Gene Tennis, Vita Blue, Raleigh Fingers, and many more A's legends.
The next pitch deep to right field. It is going. It is gone. Goodbye. 2-run home run by Reggie Jackson.
Tickets are available at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kip Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kip Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
Progressive presents an ad from Mom.
What does it say here? Bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive and get protection round the clock. You know what? I'm sorry. I think it should be around. What are you signaling? Me to stop talking? Oh, all right. I'll stop talking. No, just had to tell me. That's all you
Get
had.
round-the-clock protection when you bundle and save with Progressive. It's easier than getting your mom to make this radio ad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
We all know the pain of being stuck in the past. But with Roseville Electric, you can get current. Roseville Electric provides you with clean, reliable electric solutions for your home or business. Whether you're looking to go electric, reduce your carbon footprint, or simply save on your monthly energy bill, Roseville Electric has a solution for you. For more info, visit getcurrentroseville.com today.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. It's normal. With CalHope's free and secure mental health resources, it's easy to get the help you and your loved ones need when you need it the most. Call our warm line at 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
Sactown Sports
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlot with your Sactown Sports Headlines. The NBA postseason is finally here with the Sacramento Kings taking on the Golden State Warriors for the first NorCal playoff series ever. The Kings are the 3 seed, and they will have home court advantage for the series over the 6 seed Warriors. You can learn more about the entire matchup with Kings insider Frankie Cardasoli's preview on SactownSports.com. And you can listen to every Kings playoff game called by the G-Man right here on Sactown Sports. ESPN Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting right now that Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert is not traveling with the team to LA, and he will not be playing against the Lakers in the play-in game after throwing a punch at his teammate Kyle Anderson in yesterday's game. Those are your headlines. Now let's go back to Whitey Gleason and Chris Watkins for everything you need to know about the Kings playoff run.
Hey, by the way, Quick Quack Car Wash and Sactown Sports want to send you to a Kings playoff game. Head to SactownSports.com now. Register to win a pair of tickets to Game 2 of the first round at Golden One Center, all courtesy of Quick Quack, proud partner of the Sacramento Kings with more than 30 locations in the Sacramento area. At Quick Quack, wash your car all you want with an unlimited membership. Enjoy the fast service that will have your car clean, shined, and dried in under 3 minutes. Whitey Gleason, Chris Watkins, and Chris, we want to send somebody to a Kings playoff game. Looks like Rudy Gobert will not be going to a Timberwolves playoff game or play-in game tomorrow.
Yeah, Adrian Wojnarowski, as Chris just so beautifully put in his update. Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that the Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert isn't traveling with the team to Los Angeles and won't play on Tuesday's play-in game tournament game against the Lakers. He has been suspended, according to Shams Charania.
You know what I didn't like about that? And I only saw it a couple times, the replays. I didn't read what happened or who said what, but it looked like things were pretty much settled. Like, it looked like Coach Finchy got in there. It's like, all right, settle down. Then it looked like they were starting to separate, and it looked like that's when Gobert tried to throw the French connection.
The playmate.
Come on.
The haymaker there. Yeah, it was very interesting. The thing that I noticed immediately was the fact that Taurean Prince then stands up off the bench, shoves Gobert away. No teammates follow Gobert. Gobert then goes to the tunnel. Not a single person's like, hey, man, you good? Just chill. Everybody's over talking to Kyle Anderson, being like, that guy's crazy. Like, don't listen. That very, very telling to me that none of his teammates seem to have any sympathy for Rudy Gobert. And this just seems to keep adding to the list of things that I hear about Rudy Gobert just not being everybody's favorite teammate.
I guess they could somehow, some way, maybe they win that game. Unlikely, but maybe they do. And then if they do, who knows? But to this point, it's been a disappointing season for them.
It's tough.
And I was just baffled when they made that trade. At the time they made the trade, I thought, well, that won't work. What are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how they gave up everything. I mean, they gave up Jared Vanderbilt. They gave up Walker Kessler. Yes, Walker. I did that right. I keep doing Kessler Edwards, Walker Kessler. Now I just messed it up in my head. Walker Kessler.
Yes.
They traded him. They traded 3 first-round draft picks as well, if not more. It's just,
and for what?
For what? For Rudy Gobert, for them to finish in the 8th seed, and then to have Rudy Gobert suspended in the playoffs as well, or in the play-in game as well. It's also just a huge loss for them. They just lost Naz Reid as well, who was a huge piece for them off the bench. Now they're relying entirely on Karl Anthony Towns to be their big man presence against.
Daniels broke his hand.
I completely forgot about that. Right. I mean, we forgot to mention that. McDaniels broke his hand.
Not a happy
exiting
team.
Just an absolute train wreck. Vibes could not be worse for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And they're how glorious they're going to go against LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are playing incredibly great basketball.
Yeah, and as I told Carmichael, Dave, and Jason today, and I don't know how you feel about this, and obviously we're doing the show together, so you have a lot to say in this, but I've heard since I mentioned that I was going to be back on Sactown Sports 1140 for at least a few weeks, I've heard from people say, don't do any more funerals. And okay, I won't unless... And of course, as long as it's okay with you. If they play the Lakers, I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no.
I'm so down for a funeral.
I'm saying yes.
Yeah, let's do it. I am so okay with a Lakers funeral.
Okay.
We can do it right here, right on this little strip right here that we have.
Because it's unfinished business. If it comes to that, it would be unfinished business.
Yeah, and we can bury just years of trauma under there. It would be great. Oh, yeah, we can it can be like a time capsule. We can just bury things, and then we can we'll dig it up the next time. Time the Kings.
That's what we meant to do, Chris. And I think it was the day of Game 6 that we did it. And we did bury like a little time capsule. I just don't know where it is.
Did you feel like, okay, what percent of you was like, this could potentially go not so great?
I just
because
at
that point you had to feel you were pretty confident.
Like it was the thing to do, and I felt like the Kings are the better team, and they're going to win this series.
They had 2 games,
and I really wanted to do a funeral for the Lakers. And if we didn't do it that day, we couldn't do it. You didn't want to do it after the series already over. That wouldn't feel right. So I really thought the Kings going to win that series, and in a way, I think they did. But we all know how that went. And
it's okay.
Yeah.
I can't believe people still bring it up and like remember it to this day.
They do.
It's people are well, I guess that's what happens when you don't make the playoffs for 16 years. People try and search for random things of why this is happening, but I can't believe it's not your fault, Whitey. It's
right.
Okay.
I understand it's because it's unresolved, and that's why we need to, if we get another chance, we seriously have to consider revisiting it.
Couldn't it be incredible if the Kings have a chance here, a legitimate chance, especially if the Lakers win that 7-8 matchup. They then play Memphis in the first round. There's a universe here where the Kings play Golden State Warriors round 1, and then the Lakers in round 2.
Right.
How would that be for Kings fans, just kind of exercising demons and getting rid of that little brother syndrome?
At the same time, I understand fan superstitions, and I'm sure there are some fans going, don't talk about the next round.
Right.
That in and of itself is bad luck. So, all right.
I'm not very superstitious. I
understand that. I do think, I do a Warriors show in the Bay Area on Saturdays, and I think there are
nobody told me this.
I do think there are a lot of Warrior fans who look at this Kings team and think that the Kings are this crazy up and down run and gun team, and they're really not that. They score a lot of points, but they score a lot of points in the half court. They're really hyper efficient. So I think some Warrior fans will be surprised when they see that. If anything, I mean, you could make the case that maybe to a degree, the Kings want to slow down the Warriors a little bit, not the other way around.
No, definitely. I think that's going to be a huge key for the Kings, is to not let the Warriors stack up possessions, not let the Warriors do what they do and be incredibly explosive. And the way to do that is to limit possessions. However, that then kind of could play not to your favor, because the Kings, being the inexperienced team, might not have the same rhythm and flow that they found in the regular season. So it's going to kind of be that balance. But I think the huge thing, and it's like we saw on Friday as well. I mean, Friday wasn't a great example for a lot of things for Kings basketball, but the thing that they can take out of that is their rebounding advantage. I think they had 20 more shots at the end of the game than Golden State did. Extra possessions, just like
Hugely
you're saying,
important.
Getting offensive rebounds and not only getting them, but capitalizing them. Can you get those second chance points as well? Because that's what makes the Warriors so dangerous, is you miss 2 shots in a row, you miss 3 shots in a row, they score 9 points in that same frame. And it flips the game like that. And it doesn't feel like any other team in the league has the same kind of momentum shift that the Warriors do. The Warriors, when they get hot, when they hit a couple threes, you feel it. It's not just their 9 points feels like 20.
Yeah.
It really hits different, not only on the scoreboard, but psychologically as well. You can feel it get to teams sometimes. And the Kings, a big part of the Kings this series is going to be mental strength. Can they compose themselves and not get too down, not get too high as well? They can't be, I can already see a situation where the Kings are up 10 with a minute and a half to go, feeling like they won the game. And that's where experience, again, kind of plays in the Warriors' favor, where the Kings might up 10 with a minute and a half feel like, oh yeah, this game is over. We got this. We just need to coast this out. Meanwhile, the Warriors know there's a minute and a half left. We can score 15 points in this time frame. So those are going to kind of be the things that I'm looking out for in terms of the offenses.
The Warriors traditionally did that in the third quarter. That was a thing. Oh, look out for the Warriors in the third quarter. This year, it wasn't necessarily the case. They did it, to your point. They did do it a number of times, but it didn't always happen in the third quarter, because their defense for much of the year, the Warriors defense, stunk out loud. And when you can't get stops, you can't get the game tilted in your direction. Their defense did get better. Peyton is a phenomenal defender. Wiggins is coming back. DiVincenzo has actually played really good defense for them. So I think that's the biggest reason why they feel like it's coming together for them. At the same time, it's probably the Kings' greatest hope of upsetting them. Or are they? Who's the underdog?
I know, that's the crazy. I think.
Let me just say, beating them is because the Warriors at times this year, their defense has been so bad, very un-Warrior-like. All right, coming up next here, if you're going to punch somebody, I know I'm kind of old school, but I always thought you punched a guy on the other team. We'll look at that, the crazy things that happened yesterday, what it means for the play-in tournament. That's coming up next. It's the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Whitey Gleason, Chris Watkins, Sports 1140.
Are you ready to hear this on Sactown Sports?
Hand off McCaffrey. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Or how about this?
Feel super, baby! The 5-time Super Bowl champions, and they're looking for number 6.
Catch every Niners game during the 2023 season
on your home for the 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell. Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Sacramento area attorneys. 500 Capitol Mall, Suite 2060, Sacramento, California, 95814. CordellCordell.com.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. I am Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
I am James, Senior Apparel Designer, and this is Behind the Design with Hawks. Hawks is your classic workwear brand. It's designed for those guys that are on the job site. Just driven performance, just rugged and comfortable. Thinking of durability, everything is either double, triple stitched, bar tacked. It's build durable, it's going to perform, it's going to move with you, it's going to have everything that you need in a product. Hawks, only at Boot Barn.
Get ready to feel the roar when playoff basketball comes to Sacramento.
The Sacramento Kings are going to the playoffs.
Your Pacific Division champion Kings have clinched a spot in the 2023 NBA playoffs. Head to kings.com/playoffs for the latest news on games, tickets, watch parties, and more. Don't miss your chance to experience the Kings in the playoffs and cheer on your Sacramento Kings. Visit kings.com/playoffs now.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, the A's began the year with 6 rookies, and ranging from a 3-time All-Star in Japan, the right-handed pitcher Shintaro Fujinami, to a Rule 5 selection from the Dodgers, the first baseman Ryan Noda. Now, a note on Noda. On opening day, he became the second player in big league history to make his major league debut on opening day on his birthday.
You can't host movie night on your phone's hotspot. It's time for real home internet on the Xfinity 10G network. The future starts now. New customers can get 200 megabit Xfinity internet for just $25 a month for 2 years during our Xfinity 10G network launch celebration, now through April 23rd. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
This is the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Kevin Michael, Whitey Gleason, Chris Watkins. Getting ready for the postseason. I was going to say postseason tips off tomorrow, but technically it doesn't because the play-in thing is not the postseason.
Yeah,
it's not the regular season. It's like the nether season.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
neither one nor the other.
If the Kings were to make the play-in, and that was a big talking point, obviously, after the 16-year drought, would it have counted?
No.
As ending?
No.
Okay. They would have to have won the play-in.
I think so, and I
Yeah.
know some people would look at it differently,
Right.
but because the play-in stats are not part of the
Yes,
postseason, it's like,
exactly.
that's not the postseason. You have to play your way in to the
There you
postseason,
go.
but they blew all that out of the water with the great year they had.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Too, right? I mean, it doesn't. That's what I was surprised me most about this season is it's not supposed to happen like this. It's not supposed to go from 16-year playoff drought last season. You're 13th in the West to now you're 3rd. It's supposed to be 13th and then it's 8th, 7th, 5th.
Right.
And then maybe a peak at 3rd for them
Yeah.
to just kind of be skipping that whole process and going straight to 3rd, obviously in a really weird year for the West, but it's just strange. I don't think anybody anticipated them to be this good this quick, but
See, to me,
it's just a little
Chris,
strange.
that the good news is it isn't always linear like that. So
Yeah.
you can go whoop, But the bad news is it isn't always linear. Right. So that doesn't mean that next year
exactly.
you're going to
continue.
Be the 1-2 seed. Yeah.
Right.
But look at, like Atlanta and Dallas.
Right.
In recent years, they
Portland
reached the conference finals. And it looked like, wow, they're on their way. It's like, no, that was kind of a mirage. And I'm not saying it is a mirage for the Kings. I'm just saying there's still a lot to be decided.
I'll take a Western Conference Finals
Well,
appearance.
yeah.
I'll just
if it's a little premature.
If they're just throwing it out, if it's premature, I'll take it. If people think that that's overrated, yeah, sure. We'll just sneak one in for the Kings this year. Why not?
I think the biggest single reason, besides the fact that they were well put together, but the single biggest reason the Kings surprised so many people this year is because they took the regular season seriously.
Yes.
Which is what the league wants all the teams to do.
Absolutely.
It's what the league wants us to believe all the teams do, and we know they don't.
Right.
And you can't blame them when you got like Jimmy Butler going, I start playing after the All-Star break,
Yeah.
And you got all this load management.
Kawhi Leonard.
And the Kings decided this year, we're going to try to make the playoffs. So every one of these games is important.
No, you're
And I think so many of the teams in the West were underachieving or there were injuries that all of a sudden the Kings looked around and said, this is great. We're even higher than we thought we might be.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right on the nose there. Like Domantas Sabonis playing 78 games is
with a fractured thumb, which nobody talks about.
And De'Aaron Fox playing 70 plus games as well. Like that you're completely right. That is the reason why the Sacramento Kings find themselves in the situation they did. They took the regular season seriously. We'll see how much it benefits them and how much the rest benefits the other teams. But I personally, I'll take the 48 wins in the 3 seed. I think the Kings were really smart to play the season out how they did. And, we'll have to live with the results of, maybe they are too tired or whatever. But I think it was the right move for them to play their guys. And it was about establishing culture as well. Like you don't want to win those or get to that spot and, have your guys rest and not feel like other guys aren't all in the same way you're all in. All these guys were all in. Mike Brown, famously had them sign a contract at the beginning of the year saying you're all in. That was proof of it is these guys coming out every single night and taking care of business every single night.
That's the real tell as to whether a coach is effective or not. Is this team playing? Are they trying to do what they're supposed to do? Are they connected? And they definitely were. And oddly this year, many times, Steve Kerr even mentioned it. He said, we are not connected. At times they look like a poorly coached team, which is weird because he's a very good coach. But again, we'll see if that surfaces here in the postseason or if they've put that behind them. But the Kings also didn't manage. They managed their load fine without engaging in a lot of load management. Right?
They did.
And they were very fortunate. It's the biggest reason.
They found some time at the end of the season to kind of rest their guys. They rested on Friday. They rested the Warriors game Sunday. They rested their guys the second half of the game. But yeah, they've kind of been slowly managing their guys as the season has ended. But that's also to your point. That's why you do what you did through the entire season so that the Kings could find themselves in a situation where they clinched their playoff spot in their 3 seed. 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. So they were afforded the opportunity to be able to rest their guys. Unlike a lot of the teams we saw yesterday, who all the way until yesterday were playing for their playoff lives, which is that if the Kings would have been playing yesterday for any sort of stakes, the amount of nerves I would have felt and the amount of just no confidence in this team just because of the history. I'm glad that the Kings didn't have to rely on yesterday to find playoff postseason life.
Let me ask you this, and let me throw this out there. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Was there a point during this season at which you felt like, okay, this is legit? I mean, maybe for you, and I know there were some fans who felt, I knew it all along. I knew. I didn't see it coming along. But was there a moment at which you felt like, wow, okay, this is a legit team?
Yeah, I think the cliche moment has kind of been that Clippers double overtime win right after the All-Star break, second or third game post All-Star in Los Angeles. Kawhi Leonard is just shooting the lights out. I think he shot like 70+% from the field that day. The Kings found themselves down by almost double digits late in that late fourth quarter, came back, played defense. Obviously, the double overtime-ness of it all, and Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox both having over 40 points. To me, that was the game where I was like, okay, this offense is incredibly legit. You can't outscore them on their best day. And that was the moment where I said, okay, you guys are doing this against a legit team as well. Like you can actually not only beat up on the bad teams, but you can take this strategy offensively against really, really good teams and take Kawhi Leonard's A game and still come out with the victory. That to me was the moment where I was like, okay, I think we might have something here that can translate to postseason.
You know what I'll never forget about that night? I was at the Warrior game that night. They were playing the Rockets on the same night. So that game ended, and the Rockets they're
not
bad.
good.
And Steven Silas is probably on his way now, but they're really bad. So we're waiting for Coach Kerr to come out to talk to the media, and I'm just sitting there, and Tim Kawakami's there, and Anthony Slater was right in front of me, and Anthony Slater's looking at his phone watching the Kings game. And Tim Kawakami's asking him about, what's going on, and Anthony Slater had an update. And I never, ever experienced that before, like with the Warriors media getting ready for a coach to come out or something, where they're talking about the Kings.
The Kings game.
Like, whoa. Yeah, it was incredible.
153 to 150 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's like, Steve Kerr's coming out. How are the Kings doing?
Yeah.
So that to me was really, that's when I realized, okay, this team
the steam
has
is legit.
everybody's attention.
Right. Yeah. And it has felt like that really ever since that game. It has felt like, now all of a sudden Kendrick Perkins is coming on ESPN. He's talking about how he's the world's biggest Kings supporter. And it does feel like there was a really,
you want his support, by the way?
Yeah, I've had Kendrick Perkins on the program. I won't speak to that, but we don't.
Wonderful fellow.
Wonderful fellow. But he definitely switched up his opinion. He for sure was one of the many laughing at Mark Spears at the beginning of the year when he said the Kings were going to the postseason. But yeah, it's the Kings have definitely gotten a lot more national media attention this second half of the season post All-Star break. And to me, that's the sign of, I think people are starting to really take notice. Brian Windhorst was, whether it be for the Kings being quote unquote the mark, the team that people were trying to seek in the postseason series. It's been interesting to see what it's like with the Kings kind of, they're not really top dogs, but to see the Kings kind of be, I think the term Mike Brown used is the hunted as opposed to being the hunter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, early in the season, I would always tell people, like right when it started that they were looking good, I'd say, well, wait till they get on a losing streak. Then we'll see who they really are.
Because you're conditioned to that, right?
It's like, oh, they're going to get into a run where they lose like 5 in a row. Then we'll see who they are. We'll see who we are. And it's like, oh, that's not happening.
Right. They didn't even give you the opportunity.
Yeah. And then after the deadline, when Dallas gets Kyrie and the Suns get Durant,
the Kings get Kessler Edwards.
Yeah. And then, and the Clippers get Russ and all that. I know a lot of people thought, well, maybe the Kings will hang on. Like maybe they'll be fifth.
Yeah.
And they just stayed right there.
They fought through it all.
Yeah.
I mean, there was legitimate teams. There's no reason why Phoenix shouldn't have overtaken the Kings. Phoenix had enough time to overtake the Kings. All of these teams had enough time to get right, but the Kings, to Chris's point right there, just kept on winning. They really, I don't think they lost more than 3 straight games since November. They've just been incredibly consistent and continually finding a way to get to that upward trajectory and not really ever letting themselves down. Because I do agree with Chris. I think there was an element of we're all just kind of waiting for that shoe to drop, and it's easy for things to go well when things are going well, but once things kind of turn sour, does the DNA of the previous teams kind of start to seep in? We just haven't seen it yet.
Aren't there still some Kings fans even now that are thinking, this is great, but I'm telling you, something's going to happen here. Something's going to go sideways. You're one of them.
This guy.
Yeah.
I still.
It's a self-defense mechanism.
Yes, it is. It's a way of coping so that I don't get hurt, so that I can say, oh yeah, I kind of still, I saw this coming. I saw there was a piece of this that could have happened. I knew the Kings. It's just natural. I think it's, again, that plays to the inexperience of this team, though, is just, I don't know what to expect. I think I know what I can expect. I think I can expect them to still be competitive in a postseason, and if not more than competitive, but I won't believe it until I see it. I just haven't been able to see it. And, good on everyone who can just blindly put their faith in the team, but
deep breath.
I just can't. I can't get there yet.
Coming up, did anyone imagine the Kings putting up numbers like these? Well, obviously somebody did. That's next. Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Whitey and Watkins, pardon me, Chris. Sactown Sports 1140, SactownSports1140.com.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
You haven't asked me if I've thrown Nacho in the pool.
You throw Nacho in the pool?
I'm not going to answer that. Nacho had a biting incident about 2 years ago.
Yeah, you've told us. You've literally tried to pawn Nacho off of Michelle Dapper at least 4 times on this show.
Well, it's like she's getting a little senile.
Dapper?
Yes.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
Great team. Where's the defense? Okay, everyone take a break. Greetings, Sacramento. Doug Christie here for the Good Feet store, asking, when is something too good to be true? When it probably is. And had I not experienced it for myself, this spectacular season would definitely qualify as too good to be true. So everyone out there in Radio Land, continue to enjoy. Something else that could seem too good to be true is Good Feet Arch Supports. But trust me, I've experienced firsthand the comfort, balance, and support possible with Good Feet Arch Supports. And so have countless others who have pretty much given up hope. It's time you felt good again. Take your feet to the Good Feet store for a free personalized arch support fitting and test walk. Experience for yourself the comfort, balance, and support missing in your life. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville, online at goodfeet.com.
Warehouse Paint is where the local pros go for all of their paint project needs. Enjoy same-day turnarounds, same-day color matching, color consultation services, and free job site deliveries. With a large in-stock selection of PPG and Benjamin Moore paints and stains, and an expert sales team that is here to help, Warehouse Paint has exactly what you need to complete your next project. Visit warehousepaint.com to find a store near you. That's warehousepaint.com.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
There's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. And at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda, we are proud to provide our best selection to get you there. Buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own loan report.
Ace fans need Friday night plans? Well, we got you covered. Get 4 tickets and parking for any Friday night game starting at just $49 with the Friday 4-pack presented by Chevrolet. Save big and enjoy great matchups, post-game fireworks and drone shows, giveaways, and more this 2023 season.
He drills one to right, way back, and no doubt. And that quickly, the A's have taken the lead. Second deck.
Friday night tickets are available at athletics.com/value. That's athletics.com/value.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlad with your Sactown Sports headlines. The NBA postseason is finally here with the Sacramento Kings taking on the Golden State Warriors for the first NorCal playoff series ever. The Kings are the 3 seed and will have home court advantage for the series over the 6 seed Warriors. You can learn about the entire matchup right here on SactownSports.com from our Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli. You can also catch every single Kings playoff game called by the G-Man right here on Sactown Sports. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert is not traveling with the team to LA and will not play against the Lakers in the play-in game after throwing a punch at his teammate Kyle Anderson in Sunday's game. Wojnarowski went on to say that it is a 1-game suspension and he is expected to return if the Wolves lose to the Lakers and play the winner of the 9 and 10 seed team. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
That works. Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Kevin Michael, Whitey Gleason, Chris Watkins. It's funny watching yesterday when Rudy Gobert threw that punch at Kyle Anderson. I was, as a lot of people were, watching NBA Crunch Time. So they're popping around. They're showing all the different games. And at one point, Chris, and dear listener, I'm watching, I think it was Jim Jackson doing the Clippers game. He's the analyst, and they're talking about that. And they got it all screwed up because they said Rudy Gay threw a punch. It's like, no, it wasn't Rudy. But they're going, oh, if he threw a punch, then he's going to miss the next game. And then the play-by-play guy goes, no, it was at his own teammate. Oh, I don't know if there's
I don't know what the protocol is.
Yeah. But I guess the T-Wolves took care of that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And they definitely needed to. I mean, that was super uncalled for. And I couldn't imagine. It probably would have. It's one of those situations where it definitely would have been worse if they just tried to play through it. And, he showed up on Tuesday like it was nothing. I definitely think that's probably not the right answer.
I know you just saw it again.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Was it like I said, was it kind of settled and then?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely see it calm
and then
down.
Gobert's like, screw that. I'm throwing my punch now.
Very weird. I don't know what the gain is from. I mean, clearly he was upset, but it's just not a very smart move. I don't know what he was hoping to get out of that.
Before we get back to the Kings, the Kings, it's going to be, this is like being a kid, 3 days before Christmas, right? Or a week before Christmas.
It is.
When you think,
that
I know I got some Hot Wheels coming.
Mm-hmm.
I know Santa's bringing me Hot Wheels this year or an Xbox or whatever. And it's like, I got to wait. I don't know if I can wait all week.
I was always the kid that would, find the presents, poke little holes in them, and just see them. So I'm not the type. I have no patience.
Did that and blamed me because I was like,
older
4.
brother.
Yeah,
it had to be right. That's a good older brother.
And I got
move.
trouble for that.
Yeah, you didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, and I remember him coming over to me and hey, come here. See that little opening in that package? Why don't you stick your finger in there? It's like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. And then,
DNA on it.
Yeah, and then he's like, he did it. I got in trouble for that. Yeah. Speaking of holidays, I know a lot of people celebrating Easter yesterday. We had family over and barbecue, and I got lucky. I didn't have enough briquettes. I didn't have as many as I thought, and I lucked out because then it was kind of slow cooked. Like, this is really tender. Great job.
Yeah, killed it.
You got it. But somebody mentioned, my mother-in-law was mentioning something about sour cream. Serious question. Is there any food that is not better with sour cream on it? I mean, there may be something. For a minute, I thought fish, but
probably make something with it, right?
Yeah.
I've recently converted to sour cream. Like within the past 5 years, I would say sour cream used to just make me nervous. I don't know. I was like,
actually, I think she might have said cream cheese, which is
cream cheese too, though.
Yeah.
Cream cheese goes with everything.
Pretty versatile. Yeah. You can turn it into a couple different things. You can make it into a dip.
Yeah.
No, cream cheese is.
And I was thinking fish, but then, like cream cheese and smoked salmon.
Yes.
So,
big fan of lox. Yeah. Lox and some cream cheese. Oh yeah. I can do that. That's a good Noah's breakfast.
Yeah, cream cheese. That's the way to get it done. Anyway, hope you had a good holiday. Hope you're getting ready for this incredible series. Hopefully it'll be an incredible series. What's incredible is, Chris, as you and I discussed, you look at the numbers the Kings put up this year. Some of these numbers, I would say, well, no one saw this coming. On some level, I'm sure Monty McNair and his staff, they had to see that. Like, best case scenario has to look something like this. This would be very close to what I would imagine their best case scenario would be, especially when it comes to Domantas Sabonis and his numbers.
I mean, I would love to. I don't even know if Monty could have seen this. I mean, we're talking about efficiency-wise, the greatest offense in NBA history. I don't know if anybody saw that. I don't know if Monty even saw the vision of. I think he knew that Sabonis and Fox could play well off of each other, but I don't know if he would have suspected how good Sabonis makes the other guys. When I think of Sabonis's pairings, De'Aaron's honestly the last person I think of. I think of how much better he's made Keegan Murray, somebody who we saw a Friday's a perfect example of what Keegan might look like if this team doesn't have somebody who's really setting him up on dribble handoffs and screening off his man as much as Sabonis does. Kevin Huerter has been a huge beneficiary of Domantas Sabonis as well. I think that there's just the numbers that are good for this team are incredible. And there was no sign for it last season. I mean, this is a Kings team that offensively last year even was in the bottom third of the NBA and just turned it around with seemingly, I mean, they did definitely address the shooting and the size with Sabonis and with Huerter and Monk and Keegan Murray as well. But to go from bottom third to top in the NBA, such a massive turnaround for this team. And it's just another crazy thing about this season.
Any concern at all with the way the Kings ended the season?
Yes.
Losing some, really?
Yes. I mean, there is not like major concern, but I think by the time that they end up playing, they'll probably forget about it. But I'm just a person who you don't want to go in. It's just a sour way to end it. You know, I would rather them come into the postseason feeling really confident, feeling really good. Wow, we just closed out the season, 4 straight wins, and we won by 20. And, oh, yeah, remember we beat the Warriors, and we're about to play them again. I would just rather them feel good instead of – I'm not saying the team doesn't feel good. It's more probably, again, I'm more probably just projecting my own
Well,
feelings,
you're one of those fans. We know there are a lot of them who are waiting for the other Air Jordan to drop, right? I mean, you just are. There's a lot. It's understandable.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And so with that, I'm just – I am – just, you know, I'm not all the way in, but I am a little bit hesitant to go all in on this Kings team. But
once game one starts, hopefully none of that matters. But it was interesting yesterday watching. It was odd. You know, every time DeAndre Jordan moved, there's like a cloud of dust because he's ancient. You know, he's like an antique in grandma's attic. Like, oh my goodness, he's still playing.
And I could not believe it.
Yeah, and then to be dominating that game, and of course, then the reserves come in and you saw that thing slip away. But that's all right.
Yeah, no, yesterday's game was. I didn't take much of anything from yesterday particularly, but I did like to see, you know, you like to see those guys still get some time though and try and get some run. Trey Lyles was really struggling in a couple games leading into these past couple ones. I think he started to find his game a little bit more as well. I think that was the benefit. If there was any benefit from the Kings resting these past couple games, it's getting those role guys a little bit more in rhythm than what they have been these past couple games.
I also thought that specifically when it came to the game against the Warriors, you had some of your bench players, and I know not everybody, Monk didn't play, but some of those guys that are going to play in that series, they got to play a lot.
Yes, exactly.
In that kind of environment. Mm-hmm. And I know that, you know, tactically it's going to be different and their roles will be different, but I think it's great for some of those guys to play in that environment against the Warriors.
Absolutely. A guy like Kessler Edwards, somebody who's kind of on the fringes of the Kings playoff rotation, is, you know, also Friday is a perfect testing ground for, okay, what reserves are we going to go to in this series? You know, as the postseason goes on and on and on, your bench gets shorter and shorter and shorter. Well, with this first series, Mike's got to figure out, especially considering that backup center role, do you go with Alex Len, someone that's found a lot of success recently down the stretch here for the Kings?
He's been playing a lot.
Does that continue in the postseason? Does that continue against a Warrior team that, like we were talking about earlier, isn't that big? I don't know. I have some real concerns about Alex Len potentially playing 10, 15 minutes against Steph Curry. And you know the Warriors love to seek out mismatches. You know, if you get Alex Len switched on to Steph Curry for 4 straight possessions, I'm going to guess Steph Curry is probably going to score 4 out of 4 times.
I'm also really interested in that. I know a lot of people assumed that Alex Len was playing more because the Kings thought there was a good chance they're going to play Minnesota. So you need some size. Right? But how about if they play the Warriors? Mike Brown knows how the Warriors can be vulnerable to size in certain instances. I noticed that Len, the last couple of games, not so much yesterday, but he would trap on the open floor. They were he wasn't in drop coverage.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was wondering, are they going to play him a little bit against the Warriors?
Yeah.
And see what he can do on the perimeter. You're right. Yeah. It's like, I don't like that matchup, but I'm wondering if that's part of the equation.
Yeah. And earlier in the season, like way, because let's not forget, these teams played 3 of the first 10 or 15 games of the year.
They were done by Halloween.
Exactly. Yeah. And the only other time they played was on Friday.
Yeah.
And so they haven't really gotten a look. The last time the Kings really gave the Warriors a good look, they were running Chimezie Metu as their backup center. So could that be, that kind of makes you a little less nervous than Len in terms of the perimeter defense, but obviously he just doesn't provide the same kind of size that Len doesn't provide the same kind of advantages, but you get to be a little bit more mobile. And I'm curious if Mike Brown even knows if it could be a game by game kind of situation. You know, do they decide it as, you know, as the game is kind of dictating? It will be interesting because I don't think that they really know the answer. They clearly have been searching all season long for what they're going to do. I don't know if they found that answer. And very well, I would, if I had to guess, I would guess that they're probably going to do it game by game.
As for some of these amazing numbers, you may know them by heart already. Offensive rating, 118.6, not only best in the NBA, Best in NBA history.
Crazy.
Of course, scoring was over the moon this year in the NBA, but that's
All
incredible. You had the field goal percentage for the Kings. They were second in the NBA, 9th in three-point shooting. But the one that really jumps out, centers with 1,500 points or more, 900 or more rebounds, and 500 or more assists in a season. You had Wilt Chamberlain when he was an MVP, Jokic when he was an MVP, and then Domantas Sabonis this year. Just an absolutely, seriously, to me, we overuse this word, is unbelievable. If you'd have told me before the season started he put up these numbers, I said, no, he won't. You must be on, some bad sour cream or something.
It's reserved for the greatest players of all time to do the greatest center performances of all time. And to be that involved with your team is clearly, I mean, that's the only other two guys to be that involved from the center position have both won MVP because they've been centric to their teams. And Domas has been every single bit of that. He's been so important.
Fox, of course, put up some eye-popping numbers as well, but there is one number the Kings put up this year that could be a real problem. We'll get to that coming up in just a moment. Don't go away. Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Whitey and Watkins continues on Sactown Sports 1140.
Sactown Sports is Sacramento's new home for the San Francisco 49ers.
It feels awesome. We deserve this. Let's go, Niners!
Purdy.
Purdy going to throw, and it is Kittle in the back of the end zone.
Samuel.
Debo 10. Debo. Touchdown!
And McCaffrey.
Touchdown! CMC!
They all live here on Sactown Sports.
Your official home for 49ers football.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-280-2288. That's 800-280-2288. 800-280-2288.
There's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. And at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda, we are proud to provide our best selection to get you there. Buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own report.
Sactown Sports Playoff Push continues. Great to be back. Sactown Sports 1140. Kevin Michael, Whitey Gleason. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris Watkins. Thanks for having me here. We're looking forward to having a ton of fun between now and the end of the Kings playoff run, whatever that may be. We could be here quite a while, Chris.
Very long time.
Yeah, very long time. By the way, want to remind you to head to SactownSports.com right now. That's where you can buy your tickets for KNCI's Jiffy Lube Country in the Park, May 5th and 6th at the Cal Expo Grandstands. We got performances by Chris Young, Lady A, Justin Moore, Brett Eldridge, Joe Nichols, Maddie, and Tay. Tickets start at just $45. That's like nothing. Weekend passes, just $80. They're now available on the SactownSports.com event page. I don't know if Mike Brown will be free
Big country
on either
guy.
of those dates, but yeah, that's how he celebrated the Pacific Division title, right?
Yeah, was not expecting Mike Brown. I thought he would be like an old, like smooth listening kind of guy, but country music, big, like really big country music fan. Very surprising.
Yeah. Well, he was in San Antonio a long time.
I
don't know what he
guess,
said.
right.
What did he say? I'm going to listen to country music and have a Modelo.
That is what he said. Yeah. It's a good way to celebrate.
That
though,
is
you
a
know?
good
Nice
way to
little
celebrate.
Chill Modelo.
Nothing to celebrate for Mike Brown, though, when you look
These
at the Kings
numbers.
defense, right?
Ugh.
Let's be honest.
They are pretty gross.
What happened? Defensive-minded coach. Defensive-minded coach
Right.
by ass.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
what happened?
No, this guy. We were promised defense, and we only got offense. It's been a struggle. It was a struggle all season long. I mean, from first tip to Sunday's game, defense was the story of this season for the Sacramento Kings, and it's really unfortunate because it's kind of the only thing anybody can point to as a real legitimate reason why this team shouldn't be taken seriously. And it is legit for sure. I mean, we're talking 24th in defensive rating. That's the lowest of any playoff team. There's
play-in team,
play-in team, right? There's legitimate reason to be concerned about this team's defense. They'll tell you that they have the ability to do it. They just, for whatever reason, mentally couldn't lock in long enough to really prove it on the numbers. But I personally am very concerned. I didn't see Mike Brown insist that there's stretches of games in which, against good opponents, in which the Kings did show good defense. I didn't see it. To me, it felt like all season long, the Kings' best defense was how incredible their offense was. It was the fact that other teams just couldn't hang with them. They would score 30 points every quarter. And yeah, other teams can score 30 in one, maybe 2 quarters, but their offense was just too good to keep up with. And you know, the defense, they have to play defense if they want to win in the postseason. They can't play the way that they played in the regular season and truthfully expect to win a 4-game series, because teams will adjust. Teams will figure it out. And their offense more than likely will not be as incredible. It will still probably be very, very good in the postseason, but if I had to bet, it's not going to be, you know, historically incredible like it's been all season long.
I know the way you skew the numbers makes a big difference. If you look at the Kings, their defense on the road or in the fourth quarter, and those are significant, but still, what we say that ultimately they ended up 24th in the league. That's what concerns me, is the fact that, to your point, Chris, offensively, they were so good this year. And anytime the other team, whoever it is, they're taking the ball out of the bottom of the basket, it makes your defense better. And the Kings scored at a higher efficiency rate than any team ever, and yet they still struggled defensively. That's alarming, because it's not like they were committing a lot of open floor turnovers like the Warriors do, or missing a lot of shots, and their defense still struggled. So that's the number one issue for them in the postseason, however long that's going to last.
Yeah, it's so frustrating too, because like we were talking about earlier with the Warriors, if you can just get 2, 3, 4 consecutive stops, it makes your offense even more dangerous. I mean, that's when you're talking about being an elite team, is okay, not only can we get you stops, but then you really feel it, because on the other end, we're incredibly efficient. We're probably going to score on the other end of the floor. So now that's where, just like I was saying with the Warriors, where that 9-0 run feels like a 15-20-0 run, because you feel helpless on your end too. You're like, not only can we not stop them, but they're really locking us down for this. And it doesn't have to be, I think the problem is, it doesn't have to be 12 minutes. It could be 4 or 5 minutes of just really solid defense where you hold the team to under 10 points in 5 minutes. And, you know, that can completely swing the game. That can win you a game. And we just haven't seen much of that. We've seen some of that where, you know, the Cleveland road game earlier in the season comes to mind, where the Kings end the game, I believe, on a 13-0 run and seal it in Cleveland. That's where we've seen them make stops and have impact offensively as well. But we haven't seen it for long enough stretches, something that you can really point to as a bona fide example of, these guys can do this for an extended period of time.
So what can Mike Brown do? I've been asking Jerry Reynolds about this all year long. You know, Jerry used to coach the Kings. We do a podcast, and he's been on the state. He's on station all the time.
Yeah.
And one of the things he says is that if Coach Brown were to ask him, and he said, you know, he doesn't need any help, but if he did, maybe the Kings could play a little more zone. And obviously he's thought of that. So it'll be interesting to see if that's something that the Kings try if they need to. They're going to try to play a little more zone.
Yeah.
They have to defend better. But
the easiest thing, right? Just do better.
I'm sorry. I know what you mean. I meant they have to rebound better, which also takes less pressure off.
But if they could also just play
better defense, why do you have to defend better?
They have to play the defense better.
You're a genius. Yeah. So it's hard to imagine, even in this season of inflated NBA offensive numbers, you have to guard people if you're going to actually accomplish anything.
And it's just been a real problem where, again, like they claim they can. They really claim that they can, and that they've just, and I don't know, how do you feel about lack of focus being an excuse for why because that's what Deuce actually asked Mike Brown that about a week ago, of why their home defensive rating is 28th or 29th in the NBA, but on the road, they're a top 10 by defensive rating.
Incredible. Yeah.
And Mike Brown pretty much said, Well, at home, they kind of just don't have that same sense of urgency because they have the crowd behind them. They feel like they get the offense going. They don't have to pay as much of attention. Whereas on the road, you just have to have a little bit more focus and you have to lock in and you can't, you have to create your own momentum. You can't rely on the crowd to fuel you. How do you feel about effort kind of being or I guess attention to detail being the reason why they seem to can't defend?
It shouldn't happen, but I have noticed there are times when the Kings, when they're on the road, they seem to play a little more grittier. I know Mike Brown has talked about that. He uses that word. He even like challenges his team. He says, we're not a very gritty team. Yeah. But what was that road win? Was it in Chicago or somewhere? He said, I never thought I'd call this team gritty because he wants them to be. He's trying to get their attention. Like, you guys aren't gritty enough. And I don't know why, but they do seem to play with a little more of an edge on the road. They get home and they get caught up in, we're having this great year. Light the beam. Listen to these fans.
Right.
And I don't know. To my eye, I don't know what the numbers say other than that they're not a good defensive team, but they do play with a little more of an edge on the road.
It's really strange. And I don't love the it's an excuse of we just lock in a little bit more. Defense should just be one of those things that you either do or that you just do. It shouldn't even be a you don't do it. It is all effort. And it's frustrating because I do think the Kings have the pieces to be a good team defense, but they don't really ever lock in for multiple quarters at a time. And it's really frustrating to kind of, now that we're in the postseason, we still don't have that example. Can they flip a switch? And again, with the team that has such minimal experience, especially as a collective, I don't know why we should believe that they can just flip a switch.
You said something that I know a lot of basketball people say. I would respectfully push back on it a little when you said defense is all about effort. And I don't know that it is.
It's not all about effort.
Yeah.
For sure.
And because a lot of it is scheme has a lot to do with it, but also, guys that are not as quick, sometimes they look like they're not trying.
Yes.
Offense, defense, when you can't keep up with someone who's faster, stronger than you, like, hey, you're not trying hard.
Right.
Well, I am. I just can't keep up with them. And I don't know, they have Davion.
Right.
They have, Keegan is, teams have been going after him, but you have Barnes. And I think Sabonis is a good example. He's a very willing defender.
Right.
But he's not always a great defender.
There's some physical limitations, right? I mean, you only have a certain amount of foot speed, and that's that's a big problem with Kevin Huerter. Is I would not say Kevin Huerter is not for lack of effort. It's just, these guys are world class, incredible athletes. It's kind of hard to stay in front of Steph Curry, especially. I mean, Steph's a supreme example, but it's really hard to stay in front of guys, especially when you're at a disadvantage already. I mean, the rules, we can go on and on about how the rules, affect off a defense a lot more than the offense, but it's really tough to guard people. And then when you can't put your hands on them and you're pretty much relying just on lateral quickness. Yeah. Like you're saying, some guys it's not even a matter of effort. It's just, they don't have the foot speed to keep up. And to your point also, though, I don't know how many guys the Kings have that you really trust in a one-on-one defensive matchup. I think De'Aaron obviously has the speed to do it, but he's probably the most example of effort. It feels like when De'Aaron wants to lock up, he can get crucial steals, but it's not there for 48 minutes. Davion's going to, he's going to give you maximum defensive effort all the time, but Harrison has the strength.
And I didn't mention Kessler Edwards. He's one of their better defenders. He's going to be key.
Yeah. But that also is I mean, he's a guy who's on the fringes and he might have to play just because of the defense. So that's not really what you want. You don't want to be in a situation where somebody has to play because they provide something that nobody else does.
Both these teams have a tendency to get beaten at the point of attack too often. And that actually leads to open shots. They end up giving up a lot of, they can't defend the 3-point line. And I talked to Steve Kerr about this. A lot of times it's because you get beat at the point of attack and teams go inside out. And your defense is just totally ruptured.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up next here, can the play-in tournament survive Dallas's efforts to undermine it? What do you think of the play-in? Are we going to keep that around? And are there lessons the NBA can learn from the play-in that they can apply to the inevitable mid-season tournament? That's next year. It's a Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Whitey and Watkins, Sports 1140, SactownSports1140.com.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Eileen Javor in the KCRA 3 Weather Center, enjoying warmest weather of the season so far with highs near 80 degrees today. Tonight we'll have a few clouds around, and tomorrow will be cooler. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
A nice warm shower is not so nice if it doesn't drain like it should. Well, let's fix that right now. Get a sewer inspection, including mainline drain cabling and video analysis, just $97. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air, Bonnie.com.
The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop garage sale of nearly new showroom clubs is on right now. With discounts up to 75%, you'll find full sets of irons, metalwoods, wedges, and more at the Hagen Oaks garage sale featuring $500,000 in Cleveland, Strixon, and Zexio closeout inventory. This kind of opportunity is rare and available right now. Visit the Hagen Oaks garage sale and find discounts up to 75% on selected clubs at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, the #1 choice for golfers everywhere. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway or online at HagenOaks.com.
Jiffy Lube's Country in the Park, Northern California's biggest country music festival of the year, is back May 5th and 6th at Cal Expo, starring Lady A, Chris Young, Brett Eldridge, and so many more. Plus, a Boots Boot and Line Dance Saloon, interactive lounges, and Sacramento's best food trucks. Weekend passes start at just $85. Tickets are on sale now at SactownSports.com. Country in the Park, brought to you by Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning, Bill Eats RV, and Naughtywood Barbecue.
The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop garage sale of nearly new showroom clubs is on right now. With discounts up to 75%, you'll find full sets of irons, metalwoods, wedges, and more at the Hagen Oaks garage sale featuring $500,000 in Cleveland, Strixon, and Zexio closeout inventory. This kind of opportunity is rare and available right now. Visit the Hagen Oaks garage sale and find discounts up to 75% on selected clubs at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, the #1 choice for golfers everywhere. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway or online at HagenOaks.com. When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. I am Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave telling you something you already know, which is your time is important. That's why at American Energy Heat and Air, they make shopping for a new furnace or air conditioner easier with their new online quoting tool. All you got to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote now, today. Do it right now. It'll help you determine what system you'll need to get and provide the best pricing options, all from the comforts of your home. You don't have to have somebody come out and walk around your house and blah, blah, blah. Just do the quoting tool. It's so easy. AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. I absolutely love these folks. 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com, making the uncomfortable comfortable.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. It's normal. With CalHope's free and secure mental health resources, it's easy to get the help you and your loved ones need when you need it the most. Call our warm line at 833-317-5050 4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlot with your Sactown Sports headlines. The NBA postseason is finally here with the Sacramento Kings taking on the Golden State Warriors for the first NorCal playoff series ever. The Kings are the 3 seed and will have home court advantage for the series over the 6 seed Warriors. You can learn about the entire matchup with Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's preview on SactownSports.com. You can also listen to every Kings playoff game called by the G-Man right here on Sactown Sports. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert is not traveling with the team to LA and will not play against the Lakers in the play-in game after throwing a punch at his teammate Kyle Anderson in Sunday's game. Wojnarowski says it's a 1-game suspension and he is expected to return if the Wolves lose to the Lakers and play the winner of the 9 or the 10 seed. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins right here on Sactown Sports.
Yeah, Chris, you mentioned Frankie's preview at SactownSports.com. Also a 49ers mock draft on there. He's got that coming up too, Chris.
I am not ready. I'm not ready at all for football season. I keep seeing mock drafts of the Vikings taking quarterbacks in the first round. I'm very nervous.
Don't they know they're supposed to pause the season of every other league with the Kings in the playoffs?
I really do not understand, and I know I'm just I'm an idiot when it comes to this, but when you see draft day and you see these people on TV and they're fans of teams and they're absolutely just blitzed drunk going crazy, you know, like the 4th round of the draft. I don't get that. Yeah. It's great you love your team and everything, but really?
Yeah, the NFL does have like a different level of fandom where it's like it is like that soccer level where it's
I suppose so.
The face paint, the Raider guy who's got the spiky, you know, they got the shoulder pads on and everything.
With the 7th round, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I can't believe we still need a kicker.
By the way, Quick Quack Car Wash and Sactown Sports want to send you to a Kings playoff game. Head to SactownSports.com now. Register to win a pair of tickets to Game 2 of the first round at Golden One Center. That's all courtesy of Quick Quack, proud partner of the Sacramento Kings. More than 30 locations in the Sacramento area. At Quick Quack, wash your car all you want with an unlimited membership and enjoy the fast service that will have your car clean, shined, and dried in under 3 minutes. Of course, this time of year, typically, speaking of drafts, Kings fans get ready for that lottery. This year,
it's weird.
Bigger fish to fry.
It's really, really weird not being, at least, I can't tell you who the top 5 prospects are this year. You know, I can tell you Victor Wembanyama.
I was going to say, yeah.
I can tell you Scoot Henderson.
Yeah.
There's the kid from Alabama, Miller. I think Brandon Miller.
Keegan's brother is
Keegan's
not top 5.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's really the only person that I've seen any Kings draft Twitter talking about is Chris Murray. Chris Murray might as well just sign with the team now because people have already drafted him to Sacramento. So that's pretty much as far as my NBA draft knowledge goes right now.
Which got other things to focus
on.
So
weird.
By the way, and I mentioned this last time I was on the station, the Kings were playing, I think they were playing New Jersey, and it was in March. And
it's
it was
already saying something.
Brooklyn. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa.
They're playing the Nets. They're playing Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And it was the same time that the tournament was going on. And so I'm watching the Nets and Brooklyn. Then I turned it to the tournament, and Chris was playing. I was like, whoa. Because it's like Keegan.
Yeah, they're literally the same person.
Yeah.
Like they are
how is he in both
play?
You know, for just a split second there, obviously.
No, they look and sound like the same person. They are actually the same person.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, which is hilarious, and I do really hope that we get Chris on the Kings just so we can have this dynamic play out. But we know Keegan is kind of this shy, really quiet, wholesome guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't really talk much. Apparently Chris is the complete opposite. Apparently Chris got a lot of the charisma, got a lot of the kind of like player, like not necessarily a player, but like, you know, just that confidence, that like athlete swag. So I would love to just see that dynamic of like, you know, Chris could be the new guy on the team, but maybe, I don't want to say Keegan doesn't fit in, but, you know, maybe is more of like the vocal presence more than Keegan is. So I would love to see that play out, but I think that's hilarious.
Do we still want to keep the play in? Are we still okay as fans with the play in? What are we, 3 years into the play in now?
Yeah, this is season.
They had it in the bubble.
Right.
They had a form of it in the bubble.
Yeah, I think this has been the best case for the play in would be this season. there weren't many teams. I mean, up until about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, there was only 3 teams officially eliminated from postseason play, and the Pistons, who, congratulations, won the Wemby sweepstakes for the worst record. And then there's Hornets, and there's San Antonio and Houston as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, so yeah, I mean, those were really the only teams that we had really mathematically out of the equation until about a week ago. I mean, even Portland, before they decided to sit Dame down, were in the race. Utah was in the race there. And even in the East, there were a couple teams that still were mathematically not eliminated. So it did feel like, and then obviously with the drama of yesterday, not knowing where people were going to sit, that Wolves Pelicans game was essentially for the 8 versus 9 seed. I think yesterday, like I said, was probably the best case subject for it. I just don't know if the actual tournament itself is going to have the same kind of juice. I think the lead up to it is better, because we're not seeing teams do kind of like what the Blazers did, where they're like, what's really the value in finishing 10th?
I understand
I didn't like it,
but
I didn't
it's
like
shameful.
it.
And what the Mavs did this
Mavericks,
weekend.
that's
yeah, the NBA is investigating
disgusting.
what the Mavs did, and I don't think they need to waste their best investigator on that, because I don't think it's that hard to figure out that they decided, we want to keep our pick, because they were in danger of losing their pick.
Yeah, top 10 protected.
Yeah. So they get to keep the pick, and then they have a 3% chance at Wembanyama. But when you've got a team with Kyrie and Luka, and you're in contention, and then you're going to tell your fan base, nah, we're not. I wonder if, to a degree, Mark Cuban was upset at the league because they denied his stupid protest. Like, I'll show you.
Dumb.
We're going to sit down our players. It was just a bad look.
Yeah, I don't like how the map. Like you said, I mean, you have Luka Doncic, arguably the greatest young talent we have in this league. You have Kyrie Irving, somebody who's won championships before in the past. Yeah, the other guys aren't. That was the problem, was everybody else around the team. You have to still, just for respect of those two players and the caliber of those two players, you have to at least make your best effort. Whether or not, however it shakes out, you have to live with, but it's just not a good look. And we were talking before the show, this to me is going to be the moment that we look back at as the start of the end for Luka Doncic in Dallas. There's just no way that I can see this situation being rectified. Kyrie's the second star that they've tried to pair with him behind Porzingis. That didn't work out. This Kyrie thing, the dynamic between the two works out better, but clearly the results weren't there. I just can't see how many more times they can keep rolling this out and realistically expecting Luka to not look around and say, this is kind of a mess around here. And, it's not even necessary. He can take his talents anywhere and find success. So if Dallas can't provide it for him, there's no reason for him to stay there.
I don't pretend to be an expert at putting teams together. I'm sure I do a really good job, but I don't. But anyway, my point is this. If you're going to really be a successful NBA team, you got to have what the team's doing, and your very best player has to be on board with that. Like, you go back to Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Steph Curry. We're seeing that this year with the Kings. They're all in.
Yeah.
When you have a franchise that is more concerned with keeping their player happy than they are with getting their player to buy into whatever it is they're doing, like Dallas is, that's not going to work.
Right. And that's actually something Mike Brown pointed at the second he walked in the building. In his intro press conference, has stated and has reiterated it, there needs to be straight vertical and horizontal alignment from the top of the organization down to the bottom. The owner needs to be in lockstep with the GM, who needs to be in lockstep with the coach, who needs to be in lockstep with the players, who needs to be in lockstep with the equipment managers. Everyone needs to be going on the same page. Clearly here in Dallas, there's owners and GMs and players and coaches that all feel differently about the direction that the team can go. That's just a recipe for success. There's a 0% chance it's going to work out. Heads are going to roll in Dallas.
This is just
the beginning of it.
Yeah. We didn't get your thoughts on the in-season tournament.
Yeah.
We'll have to get to that in a little bit coming up.
Yeah,
here.
we'll get to it.
Sounds like you're as big a fan of it as I am.
It's a good tease.
Yeah. That, and what did you think of Coach Brown's Mind Games Friday? It's coming up here, Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Whitey and Watkins on the Sactown Sports 1140.
It's been 17 years.
17 years.
Who plays it up, around, and in, at the horn! The Sacramento Kings are finally returning to the NBA playoffs for the first time since 2006.
Yes, indeed.
Where will they finish in the standings?
How deep a run can they make?
Tune into Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the most in-depth Kings coverage in the night.
Well, you hear what Windhorse had to say today. This is the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Whitey and Watkins. Sactown Sports 1140, SactownSports.com. Brian Windhorst. Now, he's the one, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, because I was wrong once about something. He's the one that said, the Kings of the Mark, right?
That is the direct quote.
Everybody wants to play.
Yes.
It was interesting because he didn't really say whether that's something that he was hearing or that it was just his opinion.
Yes.
Either one's valid, but there's a big difference there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So today, and what show was he on, Chris?
Get Up.
On Get Up. If I was in charge of it, I think Windhorse would be on the show Get Out. That's a show I would have on Brian Windhorst. Get out. Here's what he had to say about yesterday's NBA playoff winners.
Golden State Warriors. They get the 6th seed. Will get the inexperienced Sacramento Kings starting this weekend. Don't have to travel. They can take a bus to those games. At the start of the week, Greeny, we saw the Clippers, Lakers, and Warriors all unsure where they were going to go. One team was going to get the Suns in the first round. Not ideal. One team was going to have to go into the play-in. Not ideal. One team was going to get the 6th seed, get the Kings, who are formidable, but inexperienced and weaker defensively. That was the sweet spot. The Warriors hit it, and it came right down to it because the Clippers and the Suns played a very tightly contested game yesterday, even though the Suns were not playing their regular players, came down to the final minute. The Clippers won, and get to go right back to Phoenix this weekend for game 1 on Sunday.
I think he was supposed to finish before the music ended there, but that's it, right? I understand that, and it makes some sense. I mean, if you're the Warriors, you probably would rather play the Kings than the Suns, right? I mean, I know some Kings fans may be upset by that. Maybe the Kings themselves are a little upset by that, but I do honestly understand it.
I understand it. I don't like the way he presented it. He presented it in a way that makes it perfect for the eventual, when the Kings do beat the Warriors, there's going to be a lot of YouTube compilations made of Brian Windhorst just saying that. It is just a level of confidence. I think it's okay. Like you're saying, I think it makes sense. It's logical to say, yeah, you probably want to it is probably more ideal to land against the Kings, a team that just doesn't have that experience, but to make it seem like, it's not like the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are in a situation where the team that's in the playoffs is not the team that made the playoffs, if that makes sense. A lot of their wins throughout this year were because they had Kyrie Irving. I know
they've been
Kevin Durant.
3 different teams this year.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's not that kind of, and which is kind of how Brian Windhorst is presenting it. Like, this is the team that you want to beat. This is an easy out in the first round. These are the guys that everyone is looking to play because they know they can beat them. It's just, to me, the lack of respect for this Sacramento Kings team, even though they don't have experience, I still think that they are a team that deserves some form of respect. I mean, they're a team that they have a legitimate weapon. It's not like, they were, middle of the road in offense and really good at deep. They have a legitimate weapon. You have to stop their offense if you want to beat them. It's not going to be easy.
What'd you think of Coach Brown's decision to rest the starters on Friday, given that they're playing the Warriors? Because that made it more likely that they were going to play the Warriors, right? Because it decreases chances that they would beat the Warriors.
Right. If they would have beaten the Warriors, there would have been a good shot that the Warriors finished below 6, which would have put them in the play-in, if I'm not mistaken. It was interesting. It was definitely, especially when you put that with the decision of them playing their starters and most of their guys for the first half of Sunday's game. It's really interesting that it does seem intentional. I think that there is an element of, they didn't want to show the Warriors anything. They haven't played them since November. And, if the Kings were to give them, a real contest, there's not many wins. There just wasn't much of a benefit to Mike Brown playing them. Yeah, they could have potentially affected the standings and who they would have played, but if they would have ended up in this situation anyway, where they play Golden State. Now Golden State has some fresh film on them. If they beat the Kings, they feel positive about that matchup. Maybe the Kings feel a little bit worse about heading into that matchup. I think the logical thing was what the Kings ended up doing. It was sitting them, letting the cards play where they will.
It was the long play.
It was. It really was, because I think short term, I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see the Kings just for one night go head to head against the Warriors and really see what we have. But the good news is we're not going to miss out on it. We're going to see at least 4 games of it.
Weeks ago, my wife, Sheena, we were talking about let's buy tickets to that game. She's a big Warrior fan. And we used to be King season ticket holders. So let's go see. She likes to go when the Warriors come here. Let's buy tickets to that game.
Good
and,
luck.
it was a little, this was, like I said, this was weeks ago. We're talking about for last Friday's game. And it was, well, it's a little pricey. Oh, you get what you pay for. It's a good team. And then we were looking at the standings and everything and the schedules. Like, you never know what these teams are going to be playing for at that point.
Last
so
two
we
games
decided,
of the season.
let's not. I'm so glad that
Yeah.
we didn't.
Yeah.
That said, the Warriors did have something to play for, and that's why I think it was. I agree with you. What Coach Brown did was, I don't know if it was brilliant, but it was smart because, all right, Warriors, you have to win this game, so we're going to see something from you, and you're not going to see anything from us that you can apply to your preparation for us.
How do you feel about how the Warriors ended the season? I mean, obviously, yesterday for them to put up 55 points in that first quarter was quite a statement. And, you know, they did need to win these games that they've played here, but I feel like I wouldn't say they flipped a switch here, but they've definitely gone to another level that they haven't been at all season long these past couple games, right?
I think there's a little bit of a mirage element to the last few wins just because they beat Dallas, and Dallas, that was before Dallas went, full wave the white flag, but they struggled down the stretch, and they beat the Kings when the Kings weren't playing anybody, and they beat Portland yesterday. So yeah, a win's a win and a road win is a road win. So they've been playing better, but I don't think Kings fans need to look at yesterday's game between the Warriors and the Blazers and go, oh my goodness, this is it. This is the 2017 Warriors again. Right. That said, they are playing well. And I think the fact that they're getting Wiggins back and that they're playing better defense, as I said earlier, those are the things that are really concerning about the Warriors more than how many points they put up in the first quarter.
Yeah. NBA history. Come on. We're talking the most points in NBA history.
I know.
In a quarter. 50. I mean, and granted, that Blazers team, they deserve every piece of that 55 with the team that they're rolling out there. But
yeah,
it was something to see. I mean, that's some old school Warrior stuff right there. 55 points in a quarter is not an easy feat, regardless of who you're playing.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this earlier with J. Ross. The Warriors did last year. They did that cliche thing that people talk about, and I've always thought, yeah, whatever. That doesn't really happen. Where they figuratively flip that switch when they got into the postseason and Steph Curry had been hurt and Draymond had been hurt, and then they just took off. So they feel confident that they can do that again. And after they've seen them do it last year, that's really scary. They do see, because they've been through finals and championships.
Yep.
And a lot of this season for them was a slog, and they didn't give it their full attention. And now here they are.
Yeah, it is really, that's like I said at the top of the show, it's nerve wracking. If you have to account for that if you're a Kings fan right now. If you're thinking about this series, you have to think about the fact that the Warriors just did this. I mean, they didn't look like world beaters last year. Last year they had struggles as well. They were different struggles, but they found themselves in the same kind of situation where it's a disappointing regular season. You don't feel incredible heading into the postseason, but there is still some optimism that they can turn things around. Do you feel like last year there was more of that sense of optimism? Because I do still feel that optimism of the Warriors can definitely still make a run of this. Did it feel like last year there was more of that though?
There was a lot of up and down even last year.
Yeah.
And I think, Bob Myers and Steve Kerr, when they won the conference championship, they were really celebrating in a way that told me, I don't know if they think they can win the finals.
Right.
And I know Draymond had said when the Warriors won it all, a lot of people doubted us. Well, you can go back and find comments from him that suggest you didn't think you were going to do it.
We are not
So,
a championship
I
team.
think there's a very good chance that when all is said and done, they're going to look back on last year, and that's the year of the four that's going to stand out for the Warriors is, wow, that was the one that was really unlikely. Now, they could follow it up with another one here, but to answer your question, I think there was a real surprise element to last year because they went through a lot of ups and downs just as they did this year.
Do you think that could potentially be detrimental even to the Warriors, where maybe they are looking at last year's situation and maybe relying too much on the potential of, we flipped the switch last year, we can just dig into that same kind of bag, and there's similar pieces that are here. I think, there's definitely, they miss Otto Porter a lot, strangely, and there's a couple guys that they miss Gary Payton, and
They miss former King Nemanja
Bjelica as well. There's some real pieces that are not the same as last year, but I'm curious if maybe they do still look at, well, we've done this before, and maybe they try and rely on that too much instead of focusing at the
I would guess if there's a problem for them, once they get to the playoffs, they do recognize what they need to do to win. But I think Wiggins is going to be huge factor. If he's anything close to Wiggins again, maybe they got a shot. And if he's not, I don't think they do.
I agree, because before Wiggins was announced to come back, it did feel like this was looking really good from the Kings on the floor specifically. And now Wiggins' addition just adds a little bit of murkiness to that.
He's Watkins. I'm Whitey. This is the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Coming up, Kings Dubs. It's the Spider-Man meme series. We'll tell you why next on Sactown Sports 1140.
It's Cattles and Rami.
Nemi was G League MVP runner-up. They run him out there.
I've seen as much of Nemi as I need to see this year.
Have you seen him since he held up that runner-up trophy?
I have not seen him since he played 4 minutes for the Kings when that same night Coach Brown came out in the pregame and said, we're going to try to play Nemi.
I remember that.
We're going to give Nemi some run, which meant 4 minutes and then never seen it again.
Might have found something here in Nemi. 4 minutes later, we did not find something here.
Cattles and Rami, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Sactown Sports.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Sacramento area attorneys. 500 Capitol Mall, Suite 2060, Sacramento, California, 95814. CordellCordell.com.
Only 1 week left to file your taxes. But don't worry, Jackson Hewitt is racking up the assists. We guarantee your biggest tax refund and guarantee the accuracy of your return for life. So make a fast break to Jackson Hewitt. Our tax pros will get you filed or get you an extension before the deadline. Beat the clock and the crowds. Come in and file today. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
When you're ready to get properly fitted for golf clubs, join the thousands of Northern California golfers who visited the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio. Players of all abilities found the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio offers answers to questions about golf club fitting. You'll find a professional staff of fitters, major equipment brands, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan. See for yourself at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Call 916-808-2531 to schedule your fitting. 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
KHTK AM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your home for the Sacramento Kings.
It's Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlotte with your Sactown Sports headlines. The NBA postseason is finally here with the Sacramento Kings taking on the Golden State Warriors for the first NorCal playoff series ever. The Kings are the 3 seed and will have home court advantage for the series over the 6 seed Warriors. You can learn about the entire matchup with Kings insider Frankie Cardoselli's preview on SactownSports.com. You can also listen to every Kings playoff game called by the G-Man right here on Sactown Sports. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert is not traveling with the team to LA and will not play against the Lakers in the play-in game after throwing a punch at his teammate Kyle Anderson in Sunday's game. Wojnarowski says it's a 1-game suspension and he is expected to return after that game. Those are your headlines. Now it's back to more of Whitey and Watkins right here on Sactown Sports.
Hey, this just in. According to ESPN, guess who's not interested? Guess who says, I am not interested in enduring a rebuild with my current NBA team?
Luka Doncic.
No, Dame Lillard. Again, I was just reported on ESPN. Yeah, so I don't have any other details on that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Dame Lillard, who's making a ton of money right now. He's not interested in enduring a rebuild. So What does that mean? It means if you want me to stick around and be happy here, we're going to have to go for it. We're going to have to
Isn't
bring
it
in some
incredible
veterans.
how in the NBA, there's always somebody, right? Somebody's always available. There's always seems to be year after year, some star becomes available. And it's landscape changing. Like if Damian Lillard next season is on the Lakers, instead of, they've been rumored for Kyrie and all these, like that changes, that completely changes how we view the Western Conference. It's always incredible. One day the Kings will get one of these guys, right?
I don't know if you want those guys, right?
Yeah, the perennially unhappy superstar tends to stay unhappy.
As we said earlier, and Luka was a great guess because, there's been a lot of speculation now that, Luka, maybe he's going to want to trade.
Right.
And Luka came out and said, I'm happy here. I never said anything. It's just such a bad situation to be in. The fact that he has to come out and say, no, I'm happy. I didn't say those things. You're in big trouble, Dallas.
Right.
Yeah.
Generally, if you have to make a statement about how happy you are, probably doesn't mean you're actually that happy.
Quick Quack Car Wash and Sactown Sports want to send you to a Kings playoff game. So as we've been telling you, head to SactownSports.com now. Register to win a pair of tickets to Game 2 of the first round at Golden One Center, all courtesy of Quick Quack, proud partner of the Sacramento Kings. More than 30 locations in the Sacramento area at Quick Quack. Wash your car all you want with an unlimited membership. Enjoy the fast service that will have your car clean, shined, and dried in under 3 minutes. Kevin Michael, Whitey Gleason, Chris Watkins here with the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Let me make sure I have this plan right, Chris. So it's you and I, 10-2 for as long as the Kings are in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Could be another 16 years here where we're just, we had the 16-year drought. Now we're going to be 16 straight playoff years. That's how it works, right?
All right. That's that works.
Buckle up.
Works for me. It is going to be quite a ride no matter what happens, right?
Oh, it's going to be so, I'm so excited. This is my first time ever being in the thick of covering a playoff series. So I'm excited just to see how the turns of emotion come game by game. I mean, series by series. I'm sure you've done a couple of these series. I know you've at least done the Kings Lakers one. I'm just really excited to see the emotions and I'm excited to provide a voice as well. Usually during these times, it's like, every single game has its own story. And I'm excited to tell that story and talk about it and prep.
Very exciting. Deuce made a great point a couple weeks ago. He was saying how, it's been 16 years since the Kings last made the playoffs. But when the Kings last made the playoffs, 2006, there weren't a lot of people that were celebrating at that time.
Right.
Because it was all starting to decline.
Exactly.
And, the Weber days, Webb was gone. The Webb Vlade team, Jay Will, they were gone. So it was more of the Kings and Jeff Petrie trying to hold it together. So this was way more exciting, this playoff berth than we'd seen from the Kings in, much longer really than 16 years.
Right. Yeah. You probably have to trace it back to the early 2000s, right? With the Weber and the Bibby and the, all the glory years, if you will.
Yeah. When the Sacramento Kings won their first playoff series, which was against the Suns in 2001, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that was huge.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I can't even imagine how big that was because, first series in Sacramento franchise history. And I feel like especially with the stakes now, if the Kings win this series against Golden State, I think we might have to plan a parade. I really think people are going to be that excited it just adds to how incredible this season has been, but I don't think we're ready for the amount of hype that this city will feel if the Kings can win the playoff
I apologize to those who know this already, but it's a little embarrassing, but it's true. 1999, the lockout year, Jeff Petrie went out and he got Rick Adelman to be the coach and he got Vlade and they traded for Weber and they got Vernon Maxwell and John Barry, hoped one of them would be good and they were both good. Anyway, the Kings, they drafted Jay Will. They got into the playoffs and it was remarkable and they had a really fun team and they lost in Game 5 of the first round to Utah. The next year when the season started, there literally was a parade and I know because I was in it.
No way.
We had just started here and we were at the end of the parade in this orange Cougar that kept stalling. So we're trying to keep up with the race. Hey, come on, punch it. So they literally had a parade.
It was a
99.
playoff push. Quite literally, you had to push the car.
Yeah.
It was symbolism.
Yeah. So
that was pre-social media because if the Kings were to actually do that now, we would. Oh my gosh, the Bleacher Report, Sports Center, every Twitter page in America would be roasting the Sacramento Kings if they throw a parade for actually winning.
I know some people, and I have criticized them for putting up Pacific Division banners, but I think
you're ready for another one.
I think this one is worth putting up because of what it represented.
I think so too. I think we've been talking about it anecdotally for the past couple of weeks of, because they do have the 2 individual Pacific banners. Will they eventually consolidate and just put the years like literally every other franchise does? Or like you're saying, I mean, this is a special year. The drought is significant. It's honestly as big of a part of this organization's identity as anything else. I wonder if they do make a special banner which could, symbolize the 16-year playoff drought coming to an end. Also the start of the beam too. I could definitely see them making, being playful with it. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think if we are going to get an individual banner, that's how I would want it done. If not, can we please just
have Coach of the Year up there for Mike Brown? It's been such a special year, but
crazy.
For all the differences between the Warriors and the Kings, the Warriors multiple championships and the Kings haven't been in the playoffs in so long. They are very, very similar. And I give the Kings credit for finding a guy in Mike Brown who could say, a lot of stuff that they do, we should be doing some of that. And so in a lot of ways, these teams, it's like the Spider-Man meme. It is. There are a lot of differences, but I think the big similarity, and I think you touched on this earlier, you've got the Kings now running their offense through Domantas Sabonis. When they first started doing that, it was very obvious like, that's kind of like what the Warriors do with Draymond.
A lot like it. It's
only he's better at it in a lot of ways than Draymond.
I don't think it's a coincidence either. I mean, we can take this all the way to the top. Vivek Ranadive. Vivek came from the Warriors ownership group. I think it was kind of a joke for the first couple of years, but as we've seen, Vivek just he wants the Kings to be the Warriors light, if not just a different version of the Warriors.
I think he wants to out-warrior the Warriors, and he's going to get a chance.
That is exactly how he would put it, I'm sure. Because we've seen even Luke Walton. Luke Walton was from Steve Kerr's bench. Mike Brown from Steve Kerr's bench. Vivek is from the Warriors ownership.
Mark Jackson was a candidate.
Jackson was a candidate.
Michael Malone, his first coach.
Boom, Michael.
Well done.
Christopher Laud, look at that! What a pull! Mike Malone was a Warriors guy as well. Vivek has wanted the Kings to be the Warriors light, like we're saying, be the Warriors, and so it's no coincidence to me that yes, like this team operates a lot like Warriors. We see a lot of 3-point shooting in a similar fashion. Sometimes I look at Kevin Huerter play, and I'm like, he's just doing the Klay Thompson, and there's just so many similarities between these teams. The electric offense, the porous defense as well, unfortunately, is a part of the Warriors as well. But the only thing that's not there is the success, the thing that kind of makes the Warriors what the Warriors are.
Yeah, definitely. The biggest similarity in the half court, Gary St. Jean, who has coached both teams.
Yeah.
If you ask him about this, well, he didn't coach the Warriors. He was with the Warriors as a GM. He was an assistant coach there. But anyway, coached the Kings and was successful. He'll tell you the key to this offense, no matter who's running it. 2 things he'll say, and we'll see if we can get him on the show. Player movement, ball movement.
Yep.
And that's been the key to the Kings. As we said earlier, it's not the Kings, fast break, running down the floor. It's constant ball movement and player movement. And that's what both teams do. And that's why when they're doing it well, they're really hard to guard.
Yeah. It's a lot harder to guard a team as a collective than guard individuals. Like we were talking about earlier, just isolation basketball. If you're going to play isolation offense, you can scheme around that. You can send help. You can double team somebody who's really going off. When there's people just running around constantly, you have to, communication is the key. And the Warriors actually are one of the, with Draymond Green, one of the best communicative defenses in the league, but communication is going to be key to stopping that offense. It's the only way you can do it. The only way you can stop the Kings offense is as a collective. It's not going to be an individual that can stop it. And that's what makes it so dangerous.
Yeah. They're both trying to accomplish things the same way. And so how are they going to stop each other? They're so familiar with what they're doing. And you've got, the Kings coach used to coach the Warriors.
So much crossover.
As far as that, it's a cliche to say, the chess match, but it could be really fascinating.
Even Dante DiVincenzo as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got a little bit of an axe to grind too, perhaps.
He does.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel, for rumors, there's nothing been officially said, but there are rumors that Dante was unhappy with the way that the Kings treated him last season. He felt like he should have gotten some starting minutes. And he, going into his free agency, he feels like he kind of maybe was shorted a couple dollars because the Kings didn't treat him as a starter in his time here and instead benched him behind Justin Holiday. Who
he's played really well this year, but he's probably
great,
he's probably going to get more money than the Warriors can afford to pay him next year.
I think so. He's just, I do love him. He's another person that an X factor for this series, though. He's somebody who can really make an impact. I love his rebounding. To me, I love his rebounding so much. It does so much for a team. And like we were saying, extra possessions. Dante is huge for that. A lot of connective tissue between these two teams.
And the great Frankie Cardicelli breaking it down this way. You check out his preview of the series, SactownSports.com. Sacramento and Golden State played 3 games this season that featured all of each team's core rotation players being active. The point differential over those 3 games, what was it, Chris?
It was one single point. Separated these two in their first 3 matchups this year.
Incredible. 361 for Golden State to 360 for the Kings.
Incredible. And I mean, that's including also a game where the Warriors scored, I think, 90 points in a half.
Oh, that's right.
And then Kings ended up bringing that to about 5 or so. But these teams have, as the numbers show, they've battled all season long. I mean, with that last game excluded, which even that last game was entertaining for about 2.5, 3 quarters.
Yeah, the Kings made a few runs.
Yeah, definitely. But these two teams have been they just parallel each other so much. There's so many similarities. It's going to be really interesting to see which style eventually gives, because there is just a slight difference in style between the two teams. But it feels like Golden State's a little bit more reliant on jump shots than the Kings are. But excuse me.
Oh, yeah, because they don't have any size.
No, they have no size.
They do not have size.
They don't have anyone. Kuminga's probably their best interior finisher. I mean, with Wiggins coming back, I like Wiggins' finishing ability as well. But these two teams are just so similar. It's going to be really interesting to see how those similarities, how will they exploit those similarities also? If you do something really well and something similar, you should probably also know the weak points in that. So seeing that battle, that back and forth is going to be really intriguing throughout this series.
Coming up, what are some of the big differences between the two teams, and to which franchise is this series more meaningful? That's coming up next. That's the more I think about that question,
a great question,
the better it gets. That's next. This is the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports 1140.
The last time the Kings won the Pacific Division, Weber and Peja were rocking Arco Arena.
Weber with a rebound. Kings break out. They've got 4 on 3. Right wing feed. Christie touch pass. Peja behind the back of Weber. Power jam with a right hand.
20 years later, Fox and Domas have turned Golden One Center into a madhouse.
Fox to Sabonis. Sabonis scores in the low post.
Congratulations to the Sacramento Kings for winning the Pacific Division title for the first time since 2003.
And the Sacramento Kings have just won a Pacific Division championship.
The clock is ticking. Get off the bench and head down to Fastener's Tool Outlet, where you'll find the lowest prices on Milwaukee power tools and much more. Why pay more at a big box store? Get a triple-double at Fastener's Tool Outlet with weekly and monthly specials, including up to 50% off select hand tools, batteries, power tools, and fasteners. Whether you're looking for a new pack-out box, woodworking equipment, or a Milwaukee Impact driver, Fastener's Tool Outlet has the tools you need to do the job. Make a slam dunk with Fasteners Tool Outlet, 6701 Power Inn Road, or on the web at fastenersinc.net.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton & Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton & Price in your corner. When you call Ashton & Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real live person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Here's a question for you on Sactown Sports, the playoff push. Whitey and Watkins continuing. We've got the Warriors, 4-time champions, the Kings. They break the playoff drought, 16-year playoff drought. They're going head-to-head, of course, first-round Western Conference. So to which franchise is this series more important? I mean, from the Warriors standpoint, you'd say, look, this is nice what they're doing in Sacramento, but we're trying to win another championship. From Sacramento's standpoint, it's like they've had their time. We could finish them off, which would catapult us into this purple future that we've envisioned.
Right. I like that. The beam is the it's the manifestation. I would say, and it does kind of feel crazy to say, especially after the drought, but I think this is a bigger series for the Warriors. And I'm more thinking of what happens if these teams lose. If the Kings lose, I think the narrative is, well, it was a really fun season. Like we were talking about earlier, it kind of came out of nowhere. They weren't supposed to be this good this quickly after all the years of drought.
It would sting, but you could live with it.
It would sting, but you could live with it.
Pretty good about the future.
I think so, especially, and then you even bring in the fact that if in this scenario you would lose to the Warriors, who have that pedigree, are the 4-time defending champs. It's not like you lose to the Pelicans or something that's just, narrative wise a little harder to swallow. For Golden State, if they lose this, like we were talking about, this could be the beginning of or not really the beginning. This could be the end of the end. This could be the end of Draymond Green. Who knows if, they're happy with the Jordan Poole extension. Who knows what happens after this season if the Warriors get a first round exit after a 6 seed, a disappointing season. To me, it feels like the Warriors just have more to lose. They can't, if they lose this season, then they also kind of lose that mystique of, like we're talking about now. Oh, we were able to flip that switch last season and still make a finals run and win the finals. Do they still have that confidence going in, or do they kind of become like what we see with a lot of teams here who have a championship window? You usually kind of don't realize it's over until it's already too late and you're losing second, third round series year after year after year. So I think Golden State has more to lose. I don't know if that necessarily means that it's more important, but it definitely feels like if the Warriors lose, then they'll have a lot more things to answer, and it's probably a lot more detrimental.
They've got a lot. They have a lot of uncertainty hanging over their heads. Draymond has the option. Bob Myers, their GM.
Right. Bob Myers as well.
He doesn't have a contract for next year. What does that mean? It means perhaps, among other things, that ownership is looking at this and keeping an eye on it and deciding that, well, we are monitoring it to see when we have to decide to pull the plug. As long as they're winning, great. But at some point, we're going to have to go another way. And if they're winning, they won a championship last year, all right, fine. But at some point, this thing's going to hit it like, sour cream passes.
Sour cream.
Yeah.
Star of today's episode.
Yeah. And that's an interesting way you look at it. Yeah, there's a lot at stake there. And I really think the Warriors, they don't have to decide yet. Mm-hmm. But that decision will be based to a large degree on what does happen in this series and if the Warriors win beyond.
Right. And how it looks too. Right. I mean, if they feel like, like Draymond does so much for us, but we can, he's phasing maybe into a different part of his career, and he looked really bad against Sabonis. And if we can't trust him to guard someone like Sabonis, well, then where do we put him moving forward?
He's had a really good year, by the way.
He has.
Draymond last year, he got benched in the finals, and I thought, this is going to be it for him this year. And he's played really well.
Yeah, he's especially on the defensive end. It seems like he's kind of picked that end back up, and also still moving the ball the same way he has, which is key for him when he's only averaging, I think, like 8 points per game. He's got to stay involved moving the ball. It'll be really interesting.
8.5, very well done.
Yeah, I looked at the numbers a little bit before we got on here, but I think saying that, I don't want to make it sound like the Kings have nothing to lose either, because they definitely have less in the sense of, like I said, if the Kings lose this series, there's always next year. Hopefully.
That's the thing.
Hopefully there's always
looks like they have more wiggle room. You don't know what's going to happen, but it certainly looks
young
that way,
stars. And, that you can even argue that they're a year ahead of schedule. I think next year was supposed to be the season where they were kind of finding this level of success with Sabonis's contract up at the end of next year. I think next year is really the one where the Kings need to go all in. So in my opinion, there's more pressure on next year's success than this year's. This year, I think the Kings have already won. They've already won the season. Yeah, you can damper the feeling on it, but I think when we are able to kind of remove ourselves from being in the thick of it, I just don't see how you can lose, or how you can look at this season. Let's say worst case scenario, the Kings get swept. I don't even know if you can look at the season then and really feel disappointed after how many wins they had this season, not just, factual wins, but off the floor wins.
I think you're right, Chris. I hadn't looked at it that way, but the Kings have their plan for this year and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And whether they lose this series or not, they're going to stick with that plan. The Warriors' plans now, they don't plan much beyond one series at a time.
Right.
Because they're keeping an eye on when this thing starts to fall apart.
And what are the factors in it falling apart? Because I'm talking about Draymond leaving. They could also view after this as we can't lose him. He's essential to us. If they do go on a run, if they make it to the Western Conference Finals, if they make it to the finals, I'd imagine Draymond Green would have to be a very big piece of that as well. Things could, like you're saying, they have to take it series by series and see what's the best for their team, because they really don't have a lot of pivot points either. They don't really have a lot of assets that they can move around and kind of make this team a different look. They got rid of Wiseman this season. They still have Kuminga and they still have Moody, but as the years go by, their value gets less and less. Maybe not so with Kuminga.
Well, as we all know, they're well into the luxury tax.
Yes.
And the new CBA is going to make it even more punitive to be into the luxury tax. They're going to lose at some point, perhaps as soon as this year, the mid-level exception. So it's harder and harder to keep that team together.
And then you throw the Bob Myers factor into it. Even if it's his choice, if Bob Myers leaves, you're bringing in somebody else who doesn't quite maybe have the same connection to this roster. There's just a lot of different ways that this can go for the Warriors, and they kind of have to win. They have to prove that they were just playing possum all season long, because the reality of them actually being a 6 seed and barely squeezing into the playoffs. And I know Steph was hurt, and I know there's tons of outstanding circumstances that happened this particular season for Golden State. You can trace it back to Poole and Draymond, to Steph being out, to the Wiggins situation at the very end of the season. There's been a lot that's gone on for Golden State this year. And so you can maybe attribute some of that to their season, not going how you wanted it to, but they still have a lot to prove. And I think that if they lose in the first round of this series to the Sacramento Kings, a team that does have legitimate questions, I think the Warriors have to look at themselves and kind of reassess
That
things.
might be, the last straw for Joe Lake of like, okay, we got everything we could out of this bunch. So that's certainly on the table. That's not a done deal, but it's certainly on the table. So as we discuss, this is the Spider-Man meme series, because these teams are so similar. In what ways are they different? I think the biggest difference this year, at least on the surface, is the way they played on the road.
Yeah, I mean, the Kings, that's been a strong suit for the Kings. Like I mentioned earlier, they've been pretty disappointing at home. They have the most road wins of any Western Conference. The only Western Conference team that has a winning record on the road. And not only do they have a winning record, but they're about 12 games above 500 on the road. They've been a really, really good road team. And in the other side of things, the Warriors have almost been historically terrible. I mean, there are only a handful of teams that have made serious playoff runs while having the lack of success that the Warriors have had this season. 11-30 on the road this season.
And that's with a push, with a late flourish.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, absolutely. Like, they are not a good road team. They have not been a good road team all year long, except for the exception of a couple wins at the end of the stretch of the season.
The Warriors
has to be a real concern.
Swept by Detroit. And I think they got swept by Charlotte.
The Detroit Pistons?
Detroit, yes. And that was before they had the pre-Wiseman Pistons.
Yeah, well, Marvin Bagley will do that to you. Let me tell you, Marvin, you don't want to sleep on Marvin Bagley.
Yeah.
That is incredible. That should not happen.
And I think the company line would be, but that doesn't matter now. We're different now. We figured these things out, and we have Wiggins coming back. Maybe that's true.
Something.
Maybe it's not. But it was, this team at times this year, they were dreadful. The Warriors.
I remember hearing, I think it was either in the Timberwolves game or the Pelicans game that Kings fans were watching because the Kings could have clinched. Van Gundy at one point was like, this is unprofessional basketball at point.
Yes.
Like and that plays into their turnover woes as well. There's points where the Golden State Warriors have not looked any bit of 4-time champions, X amount of experience. And the road thing is just such a strange piece of that, because you should know, as a team that experience, you have to win on the road if you're going to have any success in the postseason. It'll be interesting to see if the Warriors' road woes continue in the postseason, because they will not last long if it does.
You're right. That was the lesser of the Van Gundys, in my opinion. I'm a Jeff Van Gundy guy, not so much Stan. But Stan Van Gundy, and they were down 20 to the Pelicans, and they were at home, and he said, this is unprofessional, because they were throwing the ball all over the place. They came back and won that game.
They did, which is speaking to their ability at home. I mean, it's so weird that they have that ability. It does feel like when they get, much like how the Kings talk about their home crowd kind of gives them that energy. Golden State, it feels like, especially when they're at home, like I mentioned earlier, when they go on a run at home, especially, it feels like it's over. It's so soul crushing, and it's huge credit to the Chase Center crowd because they are honestly a huge part of it. They do a really good job of making the Warriors' runs feel bigger than they actually are.
How many Kings fans are going to be at Chase? Can't wait to find out.
Yeah,
Coming
we'll
up
see.
next, Monty McNair's Miracle Season will peek inside. That's next. Sactown Sports Playoff Push here. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports 1140, SactownSports.com.
Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports and Sundays.
Sinking, that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Tony Kemp. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track, makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the Arnold Law Firm.
I'm Eileen Javor in the KCRA 3 Weather Center, enjoying warmest weather of the season so far with highs near 80 degrees today. Tonight we'll have a few clouds around, and tomorrow will be cooler. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how a collision can turn anyone's life upside down in a heartbeat. So remember to be a little more alert on the road and stay safe. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Growing a business brings pressure. Staying compliant and retaining top talent in challenging times. You feel stretched thin. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put over 35 years of HR service and technology to work, offering my employees competitive benefit options while lightening my HR load. Engaged people empowered to be their best means overcoming obstacles. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street. Right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Jiffy Lube's Country in the Park, Northern California's biggest country music festival of the year, is back May 5th and 6th at Cal Expo, starring Lady A, Chris Young, Brett Eldridge, and so many more. Plus, a Boots Boot and Line Dance Saloon, interactive lounges, and Sacramento's best food trucks. Weekend passes start at just $85. Tickets are on sale now at SactownSports.com. Country in the Park, brought to you by Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning, Bill Eats RV, and Naughty Wood Barbecue.
For a precision-crafted performance, the decision is easy. A new Acura from Acura of Stockton. Get the driving experience you've been waiting for in a new Acura. Get the best selection and customer service you deserve from Acura of Stockton. Shop in person or use our online express store at AcuraofStockton.com. Acura of Stockton will buy your trade, even if you don't buy from us. Don't settle for less than precision-crafted performance of a new Acura from Acura of Stockton and AcuraofStockton.com.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you find the right customers. Spread awareness of your product or services. We can help build trust in your brand and services with a digital marketing campaign. Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing campaigns that deliver results. Don't wait. Get started today. Contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. The NBA postseason is finally here with the Sacramento Kings taking on the Golden State Warriors for the first NorCal playoff series ever. Kings are the 3 seed, and they will have home court advantage for the series over the 6 seed Warriors. You can learn about the entire matchup with Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's preview on SactownSports.com. You can also listen to every Kings playoff game here called by the G-Man right here on Sactown Sports. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert is not traveling with the team to LA and will not play against the Lakers in the play-in game after throwing a punch at his teammate Kyle Anderson in Sunday's game. Wojnarowski says it's just a 1-game suspension and he is expected to return after the Lakers game. Those are your headlines. Now back to Whitey and Watkins right here on Sactown Sports.
Happy National Siblings Day to all you siblings out there. What do you think, Chris Watkins? NBA siblings 2-on-2 tournament.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
We're going all time?
I guess we could.
Well, I guess, yeah.
I mean, Steph and Seth obviously
Steph
are very
and
high
Seth, right.
seed.
Yeah, we were talking Clay and Trace. I guess they couldn't play the same sport, but
yeah, Trace probably could play a little basketball.
He'd probably play a little.
The Lopez brothers, I know, are on ESPN.
Right, that would be great.
Yeah, Giannis and Thanasis and
right. There's a lot of carrying happening in that relationship.
There 4 of them?
There's 4. There's Alex, Thanasis, Costas. Yeah, I don't know if it's Costas or Costas, and then Giannis. Yeah.
And you got the Holidays.
The Holidays are great. Very underrated.
Drew is tremendous.
He
may be the most underrated player in the league, even though he's an all-star.
Yeah, might be second team All-NBA this year. I'm a huge
Keegan and Chris next year we'll have. I mean,
yeah. Keegan and Chris, absolutely. The Morris twins as well. We get those guys. Those are 2 enforcers. I think you have to go with Steph and Seth, though. It feels like, especially for just talking basketball, Steph is obviously,
especially if it's winners out.
yeah, Steph, yeah, right. You're just not scoring.
You might as well not even show up.
No, you might as well. There's nothing you can do. You could just stand and watch them shoot because, Steph and Seth are probably the best brother combo off the top of my head. I can't think of anybody else.
Giannis would be tough with whichever one of his brothers wanted to. Go out there.
And they would probably run.
Isn't Thanasis the one that just got into it with?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He would definitely just be looking for the fight while Giannis is.
Was it
dunking on
Blake
everybody.
Griffin that he got into?
I think it was Blake. Yeah, which is even more funny because Blake plays once every week or something like that.
How about that Monty McNair?
How about
Chris
him?
Watkins? He's had a pretty good year.
Pretty decent.
But it didn't just happen like that. It looks like the Kings, they were terrible, and then boom, now they're good. But he's actually been working on this for a while. And I have to make this confession when I come on Sactown Sports 1140. I admit, I was not in favor of the trade because I'm a big Halliburton guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I confess, when the trade was made, I didn't see this happening.
Did you say it was malpractice?
No, I didn't go that far. But Monty McNair, between that trade and then adding Trey Lyles was a really under the radar move, right?
And big fan of
Davion
Trey Lyles
Mitchell,
here.
and then what the moves he made this year, adding the shooting, and then boom, wow, he did it.
Then it seems like it's overnight, right? Yeah, you didn't have to see last season, like you're saying, moving Tyrese, moving Buddy last year. They had no shooting last year, which is a really big problem, especially after that trade. Tyrese and Buddy were the team's 2 best shooters, and that's why Justin Holiday was so important to what was happening on the floor, was because he was really one of the few people who can actually shoot the ball. And then so he makes that move last season, very controversial. The Kings go, I think, 5-10 in the 15 games Sabonis plays last year. Nothing really to get you too excited about this year or think, maybe they can turn things around. Maybe they have something. And then this season, they starts off the offseason with drafting Keegan Murray. Even that was debatable. That was, especially at the time, people were really high on Jaden Ivey.
How about you?
I was from left field. I wanted them to move up for Chet Holmgren, which wouldn't look amazing at the moment, but sure, he would still be out.
Yeah.
I just thought that,
I can't find fault with that because he didn't play.
Exactly.
But okay.
Exactly. See, light years ahead on that take right there. The Jaden Ivey thing, I thought, didn't really make a lot of sense because we pretty much had just gone through that with Tyrese Halliburton. The same struggles that we would have found with a Tyrese Fox partnership, we would have found probably more difficulty with Fox and Ivy, 2 non-shooters completely. So I thought that was strange, but for him to go with Keegan Murray was the right pick, especially in hindsight. At the time,
Yeah.
It was, it wasn't a popular pick. I think it wasn't the craziest thing to do, but
he's really drafted well. Monty has drafted well, which I don't know if you're aware of this, but historically the Kings have not always
they don't. Yorgos Papagiannis line one, Willie Cauley-Stein, Thomas Robinson, Ben McLemore. Where do we want to stop? Quincy Doobie, Nick Stauskas.
I heard a story when they drafted Thomas Robinson and he showed up. It was apparently a thing where he fell to them. They thought there's no chance we'll get Thomas Robinson. It's like, we got to draft him. He's available. Then he showed up and they're like, he's not as tall as we thought.
Yeah, I could actually.
That's him?
That is the most believable story ever because I had the same reaction where he showed up and I'm like, who's this shooting guard? Who's this 6'7" guy who just showed up here and is supposed to be our power forward?
And they were all set to go another way. Was that the
I think it was CJ McCollum or Dame.
Okay,
It was one or the other.
Yeah. And then it's, we got to get Thomas
Robinson.
Like,
have to. Because if I'm not mistaken, Ben McLemore was a similar story. But
we can laugh about all that now.
Exactly, we can. Because Keegan Murray was the right pick. He made the right pick then. And then, for him to add the shooting, Keegan was just the start of adding the shooting. For him to bring in Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter, they got introduced at Summer League. That was really the start of it, where Monty McNair, you could see he had a vision for this team. He knew exactly what this team needed, and it made sense. Everything started to kind of fit into place. You could see once Summer League got going, this Keegan guy can really, really shoot the ball already. And you could just see how it would perfectly fit in, and it's been seamless since day one. I mean, you could see the Huerter-Sabonis two-man pairing, like I said, that's been their ace in a hole since day one. It feels like that was one of the first things they implemented. Sabonis talked about how his first practice with the team, he wanted to make sure he played with Kevin Huerter so that he can get that rapport going between the two of them. It's just been home run after home run for Monty McNair. And really, I'm trying to think, his biggest miss that I can think of was he traded last offseason. He traded DeLon Wright for Tristan Thompson. And then we got nothing out of Tristan Thompson. Besides that, there's really been no bad moves from Monty McNair.
By the way, did you see that the Lakers picked him up?
So strange. After he was on ESPN for a couple months here, that is LeBron James and Chris Paul and Rich Paul just doing their finest agency work right there, is looking out for their guy TT.
That's it, right? Like one day he can't play in the play-in or anything for him.
Right. Yeah. Very, very strange that he signed a deal on the last waning days of the season.
All right. I think none of that comes together the way it did, though, for all of his brilliant moves, Monty McNair's brilliant moves, if Fox didn't do whatever he had to do to elevate his game this year.
That's so true, too, because that's really, honestly, the Halliburton trade, it got them demonished, but it was also hey, De'Aaron, we just kind of put all of our eggs in your basket. We kind of need you to be a certain caliber of guy.
And don't you think they might have traded Fox at that time, but they couldn't?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the unspoken about thing. I do think that there is.
And they're thrilled now they didn't.
Yes,
but the reality is at the time they may have considered it, but nobody wanted him.
That's exactly what it was.
His contract.
His contract was, he just signed his max extension, which began this year. A lot of people were hesitant and weren't sure that De'Aaron Fox could be a 1 or a 1A kind of guy on a playoff team. And to the Kings' credit, whether it was by design or just by the way it shook out, they had to believe that De'Aaron Fox was capable of it, because they still could have moved on from him in the offseason or at any point between now and then. And they've always been firm in their belief of De'Aaron Fox. To the Kings' credit, there has never been any wavering like you see with Boston and Jaylen Brown. There's always kind of been, Jaylen's always the guy that's floated around in trade rumors. The Kings, even when De'Aaron was being floated, said that they had no intention of trading De'Aaron Fox. So at least in that aspect, they have always been true to their faith of De'Aaron being the guy that we have eventually seen this year.
Do you have the numbers on Keegan Murray and his three-point shooting and the other rookies that have shot the way he's shot the three?
It's none of them. There's zero rookies who have shot the way that Keegan Murray has shot. He has the NBA rookie record for most threes in a season, 206. He's also the first rookie to ever shoot above 40% on, I think, 200 plus attempts. And he's shooting 41% from three.
One of 6 players this season to make 200 or more three-pointers and shoot 40% or better from three. So it's Clay, Steph, Keegan, Huerter, Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
And Trey Murphy
Our old
III. Is
friend.
it you? Are you a big Trey Murphy guy?
I was, yeah. I'm a big
Yeah.
Trey Murphy guy, second-year guy, and he provides some real length. He was honestly somebody I was really afraid of when there was a slight possibility the Kings were going to play the Pelicans. I was like, ooh, Ingram and Trey Murphy, that's a lot of length that we cannot deal with. So glad to be dodging that one.
Coming up next, how about this? This is what Kyle Shanahan would love about Domantas Sabonis. What? That is next on the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. It's Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports 1140.
Are you ready to hear this on Sactown Sports?
Handoff McCaffrey. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Or how about this?
Feel super, baby! The five-time Super Bowl champions, and they're looking for number 6.
Catch every Niners game during the 2023 season.
On your home for the 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
Only 1 week left to file your taxes. But don't worry, Jackson Hewitt is racking up the assists. We guarantee your biggest tax refund and guarantee the accuracy of your return for life. So make a fast break to Jackson Hewitt. Our tax pros will get you filed or get you an extension before the deadline. Beat the clock and the crowds. Come in and file today. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you,
Lightning and the thunder.
sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
There's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. And at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda, we are proud to provide our best selection to get you there. Buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own loan report.
Family-owned Clark & Rush, celebrating 60 years of serving Sacramento. It's time to convert your gas water heater and furnace to electric. Just turn to the experts at Clark & Rush and Carrier. We electrify more homes than any other contractor in Sacramento. Plus, we'll help you get up to $6,500 in utility rebates. We'll even do the paperwork. Call or visit clark-rush.com.
Smart energy savings is what we do. Clark and Rush.
Call 916-245-2829.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is, live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Listen to Oakland A's baseball on the weekends all season long right here on Sactown Sports, beginning with the pregame show brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Sactown Sports Playoff Push is on. Tipping off today. Kevin Michael, Whitey Gleason, and Chris Watkins. We're going to be with you 10 to 2 for as long as the Kings are in the postseason. So let's hope for a long and fruitful playoff push.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's been a while. We've waited long enough. It feels like, I was talking about how the Kings, they could lose in a sweep and have it not mean much, but let's at least let's stretch this out a little. Can we, if they are only going to last one series, let's make it a 7-game series, please. Because I would like to enjoy, like I said, this is my first time covering things. I would love to, is there anything better than Game 7? Everyone always says there's nothing better than a Game 7, but in your experience, does anything touch?
Yes, the Game 4 clincher, if that's your team.
Right, a sweep. Yeah, a sweep. That is true. That is very well. There is a lot more confidence going in. Yeah.
Good night.
Woo,
we're getting
bye, guys.
2 weeks off. We'll see you later.
That is true. That is very true.
I know what you mean. Though.
Yeah, the intensity of a Game 7. There's obviously bad things that go along with that because that means your team has lost 3 games, but there would be something really magical about a Golden One Center Game 7 Warriors Kings.
I get the sense that the Warriors are very, very confident and they're very respectful of Mike Brown and what he can do. And they're saying all the right things, but I think the Kings are as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Kings in any way, shape, or form are. And perhaps that was part of the message of Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we're going to rest our guys. Does that mean it's more likely we're going to play you? We're fine with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you. There has been a sense of confidence to this team where it is almost like, we talk about the lack of experience from this team all the time. Sometimes that ignorance is bliss. It really is nice to just not really know what to expect and not let yourself be overconsumed by the stress and the nerves of going into a playoff series. There is something beautiful about not really knowing what to expect and just kind of taking it as it comes, which the Kings are kind of in a unique situation where they're also the favorites in the series and they get a lot of the benefits of being the favorites. They get the home court advantage and, maybe they can potentially get a whistle as well this season.
Yeah. You know how we are here. We care about you, and we in Quick Quack Car Wash want to send you to a Kings playoff game. So head to SactownSports.com now. Register to win a pair of tickets to Game 2 of the first round at Golden One Center. That's all courtesy of Quick Quack.
Right.
A proud partner of the Sacramento Kings with more than 30 locations in the Sacramento area at Quick Quack.
Right.
Wash your car all you want with an unlimited membership and enjoy the fast service that will have your car clean. So good luck. Good luck with that. Yeah, I may be hearing about that. Hey, Quick Quack called. They don't want you to do that again.
They didn't quite get the last part of that read there. They kind of needed that whole.
Kind of didn't. Yeah, that's great, but they kind of didn't like that at all. So here's what I think Kyle Shanahan would love about DeMontis Sabonis. We know that Kyle Shanahan loves the old play action, right?
The RPOs. Yeah. Loves the
play action, setting up, the fake, setting up the pass. Well, among other things, DeMontis Sabonis led the NBA this year in fake handoffs.
He did. The dribble handoff was a major, major part of this Kings offense. You talked about how they like to run in the half court offense. It's pretty much all they do is just give the ball to DeMontis Sabonis. And I like to say it's a ring around the rosy of people just running around him. He quite literally is the center of the Kings offense. And his dribble handoffs have been incredible all season long. I mentioned how he wanted to get that rapport with Kevin Huerter right away. DeMontis Sabonis he is head and shoulders the highest screen assist guy in the NBA. He's he's
5.7 per game, Chris.
5.7 screen assists per game.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I do that podcast, Old Fashioned 3 with Jerry Reynolds, and he hates every time I bring up screen assists. He's like, oh, do I have to sit through this? So thank you for mentioning that.
It is a very funny stat. Like, who has to keep track of I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know where it came from, but I'm going with it.
But if anything, it just highlights the fact, especially when you consider, Sabonis is first in screen assists, 436 on the year. Gobert is second, 345. Just the way that the Kings run their offense, it's like nobody else. And the amount of action that directly comes from DeMontis Sabonis specifically is unlike anybody else. And so people have been trying to figure it out all season long, but that is the key to the Kings offense, is figuring out how to get action around DeMontis Sabonis. And he's done it with all of his teammates. It's not just Kevin Huerter. It's not just Harrison Barnes. It's not just Keegan Murray. It's every single one of them.
Do you play any pickup basketball?
I haven't played in a while, but I try and play some. I would now that the weather's getting nice. I'm definitely going to try and get out here at least once this summer.
If you are at the elbow and you have your back to the basket and someone throws you a pass and you do a dribble handoff and you do it and like once, twice, the next time if you do the fake it and go the other way, it works almost as often as a ball fake works with a dog.
Yeah,
which is a very high. 99.9%. Like, what are you doing that
Yeah.
for? I thought you were going to throw it, but poor dog is like, where'd you throw? What? Do you, hey,
that is true.
Jerk.
I wonder if the Sacramento streets are going to start looking a lot differently. If the pickup games are going to like start resembling the Kings' offense.
Yeah. But it works, man. You do that fake and then see you later. Draymond does the same thing. Here's another number on Sabonis that is really significant. I don't know how they come up with these numbers compared to the old days of stats when what's his free throw percentage. But Sabonis makes contact on, have you seen this? 77% of his screens, which is
I have not seen that.
Yeah, and I know that's one thing
That's incredible. Also.
Jerry Reynolds talks all the time about. He says what Sabonis does, he sets screens that are actually good screens, and I thought that's interesting. Then I saw this number.
It's huge.
Yeah,
because a lot of, especially in today's NBA, it's a lot of slipping. Nobody wants to be the aggressor, be physical, and that's one thing about Sabonis's game that he is an absolutely physical. The Kings have gotten a lot of flack this season for not being physical defensively. That is not on Domantas Sabonis. He is one of the most physical players in the league. He's not afraid of contact at all or initiating contact, especially. But yeah, 77% of his screens are hard. That is fantastic because it is absolutely what it looks like. So many times in the league, Rashawn Holmes just slips screens, Chimezie Metu, and that's kind of, again, to the earlier conversation we were having, that's where if Sabonis does find himself in foul trouble, if Sabonis does find himself tired or whatever, unable to play in a game, that's the thing that the Kings need to replicate the most, is somebody that they can use to get their other guys open. Because again, it's not just about Domantas Sabonis in this situation. It's about what he does for everybody else, not just as a screen setter, but like you're saying, the handoff part as well. It's one thing to be able to set that screen, but then to know what the right read is a completely different thing.
That's second in the league. 77% is second only to Giannis at 79%. So there you go. One of the things that concerns me is, from the Kings standpoint, I think we saw this going back to when the Kings played Dallas. They were like blitzing Sabonis on the catch a lot, not to get lost in the X's and O's, but teams are aware of this. The Warriors are keenly aware. So how do they stop it? And I saw a number of times where Sabonis would make the catch and then Dallas would double him really hard or blitz him, and he had to kick it back out before it accomplished anything.
Yeah.
So you kind of like cut off the offense, because he does so much there. But if he's trapped and has to just throw it back out. Remember, there was one time, maybe you noticed this against Dallas, where Keegan threw it in, and I think he got blitzed, and then Keegan just stood there, and Sabonis threw it back out. Next time down the floor, Sabonis was talking to him, said, when you throw it into me like that, if your man leaves you, go to the basket.
Yeah.
Which I think he did yesterday.
Yeah. Another big thing too, right, is learning the counters off of him as well. And Sabonis, he is an absolute monster, and his importance cannot be understated for this team.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting challenge. But it's also interesting to me to watch the Kings this year. Am I right about this? I watched the Kings for 3 quarters. The offense goes through Domantas Sabonis. Fourth quarter, get out of the way. It's Fox time, right?
That is exactly how they run the offense. As a matter of fact, it feels like in the first quarter, they almost are like, okay, Sabonis, this is your time to like get off to an early start, get your 7 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists.
Yeah.
And then, by the third quarter, your triple double should be near. And then, like you're saying, it's just get out of the way.
Even he knows that. He says, fourth quarter, I just ask him, what do you want me to do?
Right. I'm pretty sure earlier in the season when they were both on ESPN, that's what they said. They said, De'Aaron, fourth quarter time, you seem to go to a different level. Domas, what is it like? He's like, well, it's pretty easy. I just give him the ball, and then I get out of the way. And if he looks like he needs help, I'll set him the screen, and then I get out of the way. I just set the screen, and I'm like, he's got it from here.
And like you and like everyone listening, I've been watching basketball a long time. I have a hard time thinking of anybody who's been as good as Fox has been this year at getting to his spot when everyone knows it's Fox time. He's going to drive on me, and he gets just inside the foul line, usually on the left side for that little 14-footer.
Yep.
And teams cannot stop because they know if they get too close on him, he'll dunk on him.
Exactly. And that's That is the magic of De'Aaron Fox right now, and that's you just pointed at it right there. That is how he gets to his spot every time. Is you can't because
what are you gonna do?
Because if you try and guess that, if you try and say, okay, I know what he's gonna do here. He's gonna try and get to that foul line, and he's gonna try and he'll just blow by you. Because he's that fast. He is that fast that by the time you even slow down to try and stop at that free throw line, it's over because he can read you and he'll just blow right past you.
Yeah, so I would think the Warriors will, I don't know, what do you do there? Do you blitz him? I don't know how effective that can be. Are the Warriors going to be blitzing Sabonis to try to get the ball out of his hands? That's the key for the Warriors. They have to figure out a way to disrupt the most potent, as you said, the most potent offense in the history of the NBA.
To me, I think the Warriors should keen on Sabonis. To me, just like you were pointing at earlier, I think the points where Sabonis has struggled the most is, if anything, he tries too hard to get his teammates involved, and you'll see him, like you said, kind of get the ball off the catch and almost like turn into a double. If you blitz him, he's going to try and find his teammates, and part of that is letting them move, finding the motion. Part of that is letting that develop, and so he's kind of naturally got to hold the ball in his hand a long time.
Yeah.
Getting him as he's holding the ball, waiting to make his decision, is where you can kind of attack him.
And Chris, the Kings have also struggled at times with a zone, playing against a zone, and the Warriors they play a lot of zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of length and
so
zone.
Small.
It's really tough.
But Alex Len, X Factor.
Exactly.
What do you think?
Exactly. That's when you just put Alex Len down there, and he looks like Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, I guess he does. I was going to say I wouldn't go that far, but okay. I see where you're going. Coming up next, we got a lot of subplots involved in this series. So we'll look at the Kings-Warriors subplot power rankings next on the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports 1140, SactownSports.com.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
It's the other guys I'm looking at because you know what you're going to get from the Warriors' big two.
I'm not going to eat Indian food because of Steph Curry. I'm not going to play with Play-Doh because of Klay Thompson. I'm not going to swim because of Jordan Poole. The bottom line is you did a great breakdown there, but let's just be honest. It's up to what we do as to whether or not they win or lose the game. Everybody knows that.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell. Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to three key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Sacramento area attorneys. 500 Capitol Mall, Suite 2060, Sacramento, California, 95814. CordellCordell.com.
The clock is ticking. Get off the bench and head down to Fastener's Tool Outlet, where you'll find the lowest prices on DeWalt power tools and much more. Why pay more at a big box store? Get a triple-double at Fastener's Tool Outlet with weekly and monthly specials, including up to 50% off select hand tools, accessories, power tools, and fasteners. Whether you're looking for a DeWalt bag, a DeWalt impact driver, or the newest DeWalt tools at the lowest prices, Fastener's Tool Outlet has the tools you need to do the job. Make a slam dunk with Fastener's Tool Outlet, 6701 Power Inn Road, or on the web at fastenersinc.net.
At Ashton & Price, over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured,
remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Are you an experienced AC and heating service technician or looking to be one? Would you like the potential to make more than $100,000 a year? That's right. I said $100,000. And on top of that, if you have the right experience and skills, you could qualify for a sign-on bonus. I'm talking about Bell Brothers, the most trusted name in heating and air conditioning in Sacramento. They need experienced air conditioning service techs right now. They already keep 127 techs busy, but business is booming. The pay is great. The benefits are amazing, and you will always have work all year round. At Bell Brothers, there's no such thing as a slow season. The team wants to meet you. This is no joke. If you're ready to make the best career move of your life, go online to book a confidential interview at theNoSurpriseGuys.com or attend our hiring event this Saturday at 8 a.m. sharp. Your life is about to get a whole lot better. It can't hurt to explore your options. Go to theNoSurpriseGuys.com to get the ball rolling.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
We all know the pain of being stuck in the past. But with Roseville Electric, you can get current. Roseville Electric provides you with clean, reliable electric solutions for your home or business. Whether you're looking to go electric, reduce your carbon footprint, or simply save on your monthly energy bill, Roseville Electric has a solution for you. For more info, visit getcurrentroseville.com today.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. Your home for the biggest matchups in the NFL. Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Laud with your Sactown Sports headlines. The NBA's postseason is finally here with the Sacramento Kings taking on the Golden State Warriors for the first NorCal playoff series ever. The Kings are the 3 seed and will have home court advantage for the series over the 6 seed Warriors. You can learn more about the entire matchup with Kings insider Frankie Chardaselli's preview on SactownSports.com. You can also listen to every Kings playoff game called by the G-Man right here on Sactown Sports. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert is not traveling with the team to LA and will not play against the Lakers in the play-in game after throwing a punch at his teammate Kyle Anderson in Sunday's game. Wojnarowski says it's a one-game suspension and it is expected to return after the Lakers game. Those are your headlines. Now back to Whitey and Watkins right here on Sactown Sports.
Let me just say this as we get ready for the Warriors and the Kings. We're very lucky here as Northern California pro basketball fans because you got such buy-in. And okay, in some areas of Northern California, occasionally you may have to deal with a guy on the team punching another guy, during practice, whatever. That said, you've got teams committed to winning who are winning, and you've got solid organizations. And I had to hold on. I'm not used to saying that about the Kings, but I think it's true right now, right? Seriously.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Well, look what else is going on around the league here real quickly, and we'll get back to the Warriors and the Kings and the plot lines. Just looking at ESPN here, and this is Whitey Gleason, Chris Watkins on the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. I've got Steve Clifford. Hornets must win to prevent LaMelo exit. Next story. Luka on future with Mavericks. I'm happy here. And we had another report on ESPN today. Dame Lillard, I'm not interested in enduring a rebuild. So you've got all these teams that have struggled and they're so worried about, what are our stars going to do? Are they going to leave? And when you're worried about keeping your stars, I think you've already lost as an organization.
Yeah, it does feel like, yeah, exactly. Once the conversation has begun, especially with how media is, it's unfortunate, but you're just going to continually be asked about it until it seems like the problem is solved. And for both of those teams, for Dallas and for Portland, there's just not an end in sight. I mean, Portland at least has the potential of maybe getting into the Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson sweepstakes. But if they don't get one of those guys, I don't know what the answer is. I'm pretty sure Jeremy Grant's going to be a free agent after this year. Anthony Simons is kind of like a discount. CJ McCollum.
Skylar Mays looked like a player yesterday, I'll tell you that.
Right. Eubanks has looked like a player for them these past couple games.
You were talking about Eubanks last week. Nate was asking about it. Yeah.
Nate
Are you guys breaking down the Eubanks?
Very intrigued with I keep calling him Devin Eubanks, and it's not Devin Eubanks. I don't know which Eubanks it is.
Drew Eubanks.
Drew Eubanks. Yeah. God, I think it was Devin Ebanks is somebody from the early 2000s. Drew Eubanks. Yeah, but Portland has both of those teams. I think have the writings on the wall for their stars. I think Portland's probably more imminent in terms of losing their star than Dallas is. But like you said, like once it's already been said, it feels like you've kind of already
out of the
lost.
bottle.
Yeah,
And I don't blame
exactly.
players. I mean, the players have that right. It's incumbent upon the organization to avoid ending up in that kind of
And
situation.
especially with how much pressure we put on stars to win nowadays, right? I mean, especially someone like Luka Doncic. Luka is reaching on territory now where we need to start looking at his championship clock, because he's going to be in year 5 or 6 coming up here, and no finals appearances, no nothing. If you're supposed to be a generational talent, you look at how long it generally takes them to at least make the finals. It's usually around this time. So I wonder if, you look at Giannis, you look at LeBron, Kevin Durant, all these guys have made finals appearances in their first handful of seasons. Luka's clock is ticking, and I'm sure the talk is only going to intensify the closer and closer we get to the regular season.
He is in line for I don't know if it's a major award, but the Huggies Diaper Crybaby of the Year award. I think he's got to be probably the leading candidate.
The Charmin Soft Award of the Year. Yeah. Charmin Ultra
Even
Soft.
at a time when virtually everybody complains, he still stands out.
Yeah, I would not want to see Luka in a playoff series. Must just be unbearable, right? 4 straight games of complaining about every single call, or at least minimum 4 games. It feels like a lot of people have really soured on him. I'm glad that we don't have to watch him in a playoff series for that exact reason. I mean, he's an incredible talent. You can't disparage his talent at all, but he's just not a fun player to watch. It's pretty unfortunate.
This should be a really, really fun series, obviously. What are some of the storylines that stand out to you? Is the number one storyline, the subplot of this series, maybe I'm wrong, I'm just asking the question, is it the whole Mike Brown, Steve Kerr, the student, and the master standpoint?
Who is the master in this situation, right? Because, I mean, Mike Brown, you could argue, coached Steve Kerr first. He coached him a little bit in San Antonio. He was one of the assistants when Steve Kerr was there. That, to me, I think is honestly, from what I've seen in the initial, talk about this series, has kind of been talked about the least, which I'm surprised by, because to me, it is one of probably the 2 biggest storylines of this is just like we've been talking about, just the overall similarities of these 2 teams, the amount of crossover between these 2 teams. I think, and once the series starts playing out, I think we're going to see that dynamic really play itself out of how much does Mike Brown know about this Warriors team? How much insight can he give this Kings team, especially since he's the one with the most experience on the roster? Mike Brown has the most playoff experience of anybody on this Kings roster. How will that dynamic play out? And then, the master versus the student thing for sure is also intriguing too, because it's always nice to see someone from your coaching tree going against the master of the coaching tree.
Well, Frankie had a great point today. You and I talking to Frankie before he went on with J. Ross and I forget the other guy that does that show with J. Ross and company, right? That's no, but Frank, and he may have said it on the air too, but he was saying, from a Kings standpoint, if they lose that first game, I don't feel real good about things. That would certainly change the complexion of the whole thing.
Game 2 is interesting because it could either be honestly more hype than game 1. If the Kings win game 1 going into game 2, it's like, oh my gosh, we could really do something here.
Yeah.
Or it could be incredibly like reality starting to seep in a little, real nervous energy. Oh, we kind of really need this one heading into Chase. It could be really interesting just how, I mean, like I was talking about earlier, the game by game dynamics of this series.
And that's the nature of any series too.
The emotional waves that we're going to be going through. I just feel like we're going to feel it even more being so, with the proximity of these 2 places.
So Chris, you said that Brown versus Kerr is one of the 2 biggest storylines. What's your other one then?
I really like the champ versus upstart. To me, that's like that.
How is the upstart? The upstart's the favorite.
Favorite, right? Or are they the favorite? Will they be the favorite? I don't know. I think to me that's the biggest storyline that's going to be followed. Is wow, it's the experience factor. Like we've been talking, I think it's going to play itself out on the floor. It'll be interesting to see how it ends up shaking out the series. But I think just the fact that this is a team, like I said earlier, the Kings. Almost ignorance is bliss. They don't know any better. They don't know how to handle these situations. The Warriors have been in every possible situation you can imagine, whether it be on the winning side or on the losing side in postseason basketball. They've been through it all. How will that play out? And does it matter? This is the ultimate stress test of how much does experience matter, because this is a team with ultimate no experience versus a team with supreme experience as the top dog. And then, as we've been talking about last season, really being that underdog story, but the old guys still got it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do they still have it?
Mike Brown's experience, playoff experience, I think will be huge for the Kings, but there is something to be said for the fact that as a team, as a group, the Warriors have been through it as a group.
Yeah.
I know that we've all heard and talked about how, Herter has playoff experience and Sabonis, but as a team, I go back to those little bit cliche, but those old Spurs teams that won 5 championships spread over 30 years or whatever it was.
Right.
I mean, it was just impressive. They were good every year, but you'd get in a key situation of a big game and they knew what they were doing.
Yes, that's the key to me is like you were saying, the individual, Sabonis has experience, Herter has experience, HB has experience, but doing it together is different because you have to know how, De'Aaron's got to know, okay, I know I can trust HB in these kind of situations because he's just super calm, super collected. There's just a certain level of knowledge that you learn about your team when you're in the fire, when you can see how people react, who you can trust, who you can't trust, what kind of things you can go to. Does De'Aaron need to take over in those situations? Those are the kind of things that you won't know until you're in the fire, until you are in the experience itself. You won't know if you'll react positively or negatively to it. The Kings, if the regular season is any indicator, we should believe that they should thrive in these high intensity environments because they've been incredible in the clutch all season long. Not just De'Aaron Fox, their offensive numbers nothing really changes about this team no matter what the situation is. They're always an incredible offense, almost unstoppable offense, and they always struggle on defense. It's just it's the identity of this year's team.
You mentioned
I looked it up. DraftKings, the Warriors are almost 3-1 favorites.
No
for the Kings in
way.
the series. Yeah.
No way. That is insane.
Yeah,
that is insane.
Because that's the national perception.
It makes sense, right? And especially like betting is based off of how people will bet, not based off of how they actually think it's going to happen. So it makes sense, right? Especially people who aren't local, it would make sense.
That hurt you, didn't it, when Chris said that?
Three times is crazy. So you're saying they're like plus 300 favorites?
They're minus 290.
Minus 290. Okay, I mean that's pretty significant, especially when you consider it's a 3-6 matchup. I think there is. Yeah, right. Well, there you go. The Kings can if you bet the Kings to win the Pacific Division at plus 25,000 or whatever it was.
I did not.
Yeah, you did not. That's why you're right here. You might as well continue to ride the wave and I guess go for to me it feels like this is at best I don't know. I guess this is why I don't work in Vegas, but to me this is a 50-50 series. Like I could realistically see
Chris
this
is struggling with this, and
way.
I understand he's having a hard time with these
odds. Really having a hard time with this because it's crazy. I mean, the fact again, this is the ultimate stress test of does experience matter? Because that's what that line is telling me is that people clearly think, yeah, I mean, just because the Warriors have been here, they've been through the fire, they know how they have an example of how they'll react to this situation. We'll see if it plays out.
Yeah, we got to get to the Harrison Barnes subplot to this series. We'll come back with that, plus how the Kings put the bad juju of the 2018 draft behind them this year, and they needed a little help to do that. That's next on the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports 1140.
Sactown Sports is Sacramento's new home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Feels awesome. We deserve this. Let's go, Niners!
Purdy
going to throw, and it is Kittle in the back of the end zone.
Samuel.
Debo 10. Debo. Touchdown!
And McCaffrey.
Touchdown! CMC!
They all live here on Sactown Sports.
Your official home for 49ers football.
I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. We provide a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to determine eligibility. Businesses of all types can qualify, so go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Download the Innovation Refunds app or go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Uma?
Yep, switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Not excited about this, Chris Watkins. I'm happy to be here with you today. It's the Sactown Sports Playoff Push, Whitey and Watkins. But I'm not happy about the fact that we don't have any NBA basketball to watch today.
I know. I have no idea. Let me pull up
supposed to watch
ESPN.
baseball?
What is happening tonight? I know we don't even get the WNBA draft this time. We don't even get Caitlin Clark getting drafted. Don't get Angel Reese getting drafted. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what we have on.
I know we have
action
the.
tonight.
I think
a lot
the
of baseball, a lot
Mets
of
and
hockey.
the Padres are on. I'll probably watch that.
Yeah, I'll probably do a whole lot of nothing tonight. Honestly, I don't think this early season baseball is really going to get to me. Giants Dodgers tonight. Logan Webb on the bump.
Wait, the Giants are playing a National League team? That's unbelievable. I thought they just played the Royals and the Yankees and the White Sox now.
Incredible.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's something anyway. I guess NBA TV, they probably have playoff previews and not. See, I love sometimes with Hardwood Classics.
Please give me some.
It's Pete Maravich and the Atlanta Hawks against Lou Alcindor and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Love that. If we can get even last year's play-in games or something, I don't know. Yeah, give us something on NBA TV tonight.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think here before we move on to how the Kings, I think it's one of their greatest accomplishments this year that they put the whole Luka Bagley thing behind them. I think they did.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, we're talking about some of the biggest subplots of this playoff series between the Warriors and the Kings. It's so great. The Kings against the Warriors. How about the Harrison Barnes revenge? He doesn't strike me as a real vindictive guy per se, but he definitely has, I would argue, a score to settle with at least some Warrior fans.
Rightfully so, I think. Harrison was, for those who don't remember, was a part of those Warriors championship teams and was also a part of the Warriors' epic collapse in the NBA Finals as well.
73-win team.
73-win team, exactly. Greatest winning regular season of all time. Harrison was a part of that, but was also, as I mentioned, a part of the embarrassing 3-1 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and was kind of the scapegoat for the Warriors and especially Warriors fans in that season. People viewed, Harris,
Are these numbers right?
Those
you wrote
are
down here.
I was hoping that you would mention those numbers that I had
saw
written
that
down
and
there.
I didn't remember it being.
Well, see, because that's why I looked it up, because I remember Warriors fans obviously having a bad taste in their mouth about Harrison Barnes, about how he performed in that playoff series, in that final series. And so I looked it up. I was like, I remember from my memory and the way that Warriors fans talked about it, he didn't make a shot the entire series. That's not exactly true, but also I would say they have reason to be upset for sure.
Final 3 games as a Warrior in the 2016 finals. Harrison Barnes, 15 total points, 5 for 32, 3 of 15 on 3-pointers, 28 minutes per game, 3 losses. Yeah, he just couldn't buy one with Christopher Lodd's credit card. I mean, it's just
10% from the field goal
clunk
is not
clunk.
Great. It's not great.
And then you can't really blame the
Open
Warriors. It's
looks,
like,
too.
well, we like you, okay, but we could bring in Kevin Durant, so we're gonna do that.
Yes, and there's also I think if there's any animosity between Harrison and the Warriors, I think there is some animosity from what I understand between Harrison and Draymond Green, because Draymond was the one who famously called Kevin Durant while still in the parking lot of Oracle Arena to call Kevin Durant and say, please, Kevin, please, Harrison Barnes just scored 15 total points in 3 games. Please come to us. And so there is still a little bit of animosity, I think, between Harrison Barnes and specifically Draymond. But definitely a very intriguing storyline to follow, because this is Harrison's first time in the postseason since that playoff appearance. He did not go with Dallas. He obviously has not been since he's been to Sacramento. Harrison I don't know how he was in his first couple years in Golden State, but his entire time here in Sacramento has been the definition of a professional. And I would
he's always been like that.
I would be shocked if he doesn't perform well in this postseason. I just think he's going to prepare himself well. He's going to carry himself with a level of confidence and knowing that he is one of the most veteran guys on this team. And they're going to look at him to kind of be that calming presence in a real heightened anxiety moment. I would suspect Harrison to have a pretty big role in this series, even if it's not on the floor. I think that they're going to look to him a lot to kind of be, like I'm saying, just that calming presence that they can look to and kind of remind them this is a marathon, not a sprint. Even if they do go down 1-0, even if they do go down 2-0, it's not over.
Dante DiVincenzo, you touched on this earlier. How about from his standpoint?
Mm-hmm.
Any angst there over the way he was treated by the Sacramento Kings?
I think so.
He's having a great year, by the way.
Yeah, I think he would really like to stick it to, I don't know if it's to Monty McNair, if it's to Vivek, if it's to everybody in the Kings organization, but I think Dante definitely has a bone to pick. And I wouldn't be surprised if, things tend to get a little heated in playoff series once teams start playing each other for the second, third, fourth, fifth straight time in a series. Those emotions kind of start to bubble up and have funny ways of showing themselves. So I'll definitely be on the lookout for Dante. Exactly.
Where do you think we are as far as that goes with the fan bases? Because I get the sense to this point, it's been pretty
cordial.
It has been. And I know
you do your thing, we do our thing.
There's a little bit perhaps of there's kind of a condescending, like, oh, it's cute.
Yeah,
with your beam.
Exactly. No, there is.
With your beam and everything.
We're too busy ringing it up over here. You guys have fun with your laser show or whatever.
Yeah.
There's definitely an element to that too. And and you know what? I don't know because I wasn't around or, I wasn't an adult at the time. And I feel like there was probably that element with LA too, where it's like, okay, yeah, you're the other California team. Out of sight, out of mind, we really don't think about you. But then once you get thrown in the fire of a playoff series, everything comes to head. And I feel like I don't think there will be the same buddy coexisting kind of relationship after this Highway 80 series that we're about to see here.
Yeah.
I definitely can see Kings Warriors fans kind of getting to that. I think it could get, honestly, tell me if I'm crazy, I think it could get more than the Laker hatred. Do you think that that's possible from a Kings perspective? Would it have to go poorly for it to go in that direction? I think it would take longer
for it to get to that point because the Laker hatred, sports hatred, whatever it is, that animosity, that was built on a couple years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And the reputation of the Lakers and the poor little Kings, the downtrodden Kings. So I don't know. I think it has potential to get to that point maybe eventually, but in 1 year's time, I mean, we're talking Lakers, Kings was one of the hottest rivalries we've ever seen in
very high stakes as well.
But this one has more potential, but it's going to take longer, I think. And hopefully this won't be the only time they play, in the next 16 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe, or hopefully, maybe the Warriors go on a little 16-year playoff drought of their
That certainly could happen. I think one of the biggest accomplishments for the Kings this year was that, in my opinion, tell me what you think, somehow the Kings have been able to get rid of that dark cloud that has just been hanging over the franchise since they passed on Luka and took Bagley.
Yeah, I mean, and part of that is literally getting him out of the building, I think, as long as he was here in Sacramento, there was always going to be that's a visual representation of your mistake. It is every single time you see Marvin Bagley not perform well, the first thought is that could have been Luka. What would this have looked like with Luka? Now with Marvin gone, away from the situation, obviously the Kings are finding success. I don't know if there's necessarily a direct link between the two, but it has definitely put that in the rearview mirror. It's no longer something like we were talking about before the show,
because they overcame it
exactly
to get to this point.
Exactly. In the moment, it felt like, okay, we just messed up the number 2 pick in the draft. This is going to set us back. If we weren't messing up the number 2 pick the past 14 years and we're in the situation now that we have messed up this prime opportunity, this could set us back 5, 10, who knows how many years. And for them to, it pretty much hasn't even, they have Trey Lyles to show for it at this point, and Trey's been a huge contributor to this team. But
you're a big Trey Lyles guy, right?
Huge. Me and Chris Verlaud here, day one.
Is that why Verlaud is wearing the Canada shirt?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Canada, Verlaud's got the Canada shirt on. Trey Bays. If you want to join the Trey Bay communion,
how much is it going to cost me?
It's free. It just costs a little love.
That's couple loonies. I will say the one thing that also helps with that Luka thing is watching him kind of bring down the Mavericks by himself.
True. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Who would you rather, which franchise would you rather be? And I know that Luka's had a lot of success in recent years, and they went to conference finals last year. They overachieved, and it was a mirage. But still right now, I mean, if you're the Kings, you don't have any buyer's remorse.
That's a crazy thought.
Because it's like, all right, maybe we could have handled that differently, but I think it's worked out okay. Glad we're us and not you right now, Mavs.
And I feel like I always have to preface this talking with Luka because he's a generational talent, and obviously you'll take that talent.
He's overrated.
But it is like it's its own separate set of headaches. You know, it's a champagne problem to have. It's when you have Luka Doncic, it's almost like it's crazy to say this, but is he too talented? Is there too much pressure that comes along with having Luka and drafting Luka and always having to build a team around Luka?
He's a great player, but he has the ball all the time. He's very ball dominant, and so he needs better players around him. But not everybody's going to want to play with a guy like that.
I would argue most don't. Especially
Jalen
great
Brunson
ones.
could do it.
Right.
He showed he could do it, but I think, and obviously he could make a lot of money with the Knicks, but he probably looked at it and said, yeah, I could do that. I don't want to, though.
Yeah, no, I completely, I think it's going to be really, really tough for Dallas to find a pairing mate for Luka. I don't think a lot of people
I don't think Kyrie's it. Call me crazy.
Hot
take.
I don't think so either.
Harvey over here.
I don't think so either. I think what I saw from Dallas when they had Kyrie was it was almost like, this is Luka's squad, this is Kyrie's squad. You guys play this time, and then you guys check out, and Kyrie's squad comes in. You guys can play like 5 minutes together the entire game, but it's definitely not a seamless fit with the two.
Yeah, that cloud from the 2018 draft, it's gone.
Yeah,
for the Kings.
it's completely gone. No, it's out of sight, out of mind completely. I don't think anybody is having Marvin Bagley conversations anymore as we have his jersey up here in the studio.
As we look ahead to Game 1 Saturday, tell you 3 things the Warriors do very, very poorly and how the Kings must take advantage. That's next on the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. Kevin, Michael, Whitey, Gleason, and, of course, Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports 1140.
It's Cattles and Rami.
He's using Irish Spring bars in 2023. They still sell them, so obviously enough people. I feel like between your Irish Spring and your CBS TV shows, you're a whole nother demographic, man. Wow. And between you taking your shoes off to poop and using a loofah, you're also a different demographic. I think most people are pooping shoeless, though.
No. Cattles and Rami, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Sactown Sports.
Get ready to feel the roar when playoff basketball comes to Sacramento.
The Sacramento Kings are going to the playoffs.
Your Pacific Division champion Kings have clinched a spot in the 2023 NBA playoffs. Head to kings.com/playoffs for the latest news on games, tickets, watch parties, and more. Don't miss your chance to experience the Kings in the playoffs and cheer on your Sacramento Kings. Visit kings.com/playoffs now.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants and stuff.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns. Here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with the set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
Jiffy Lube's Country in the Park, Northern California's biggest country music festival of the year, is back May 5th and 6th at Cal Expo, starring Lady A, Chris Young, Garrett Aldridge.
I wanna be that song.
And so many more. Plus, a Boots Boot and Line Dance Saloon, interactive lounges, and Sacramento's best food trucks. Weekend passes start at just $85. Tickets are on sale now at SactownSports.com. Country in the Park, brought to you by Attic Man Heating and Air Conditioning, Bill Eats RV, and Naughtywood Barbecue.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
There's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. And at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda, we are proud to provide our best selection to get you there. Buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own report.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. It's normal. With CalHope's free and secure mental health resources, it's easy to get the help you and your loved ones need when you need it the most. Call our warm line at 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. The NBA postseason is finally here with the Sacramento Kings taking on the Golden State Warriors for the first NorCal playoff series ever. The Kings are the 3 seed and will have home court advantage for the series over the 6 seed Warriors. You can learn about the entire matchup with Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's preview on SactownSports.com, and you can listen to every Kings playoff game called by the G-Man right here on Sactown Sports. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert is not traveling with the team to LA and will not play against the Lakers in the play-in game after throwing a punch at his teammate Kyle Anderson in Sunday's game. Wojnarowski says it's a one-game suspended, and Gobert is expected to return to the teams after their Lakers game. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to more of Whitey and Watkins.
How would you like to go see the Warriors and the Kings? Well, Quick Quack Car Wash and Sactown Sports want to send you to a Kings playoff game, so head to SactownSports.com now. Register to win a pair of tickets to Game 2 of the first round at Golden One Center, all courtesy of Quick Quack, proud partner of the Sacramento Kings. Give me one quack for each of their locations. More than 30 locations in the Sacramento area at Quick Quack. Wash your car all you want with an unlimited membership. Hello, I am an unlimited member. And enjoy the fast service that'll have your car clean, shined, and dried in under 3 minutes. I don't know, Chris Watkins. I think the place is going to be rocking for this series.
I just want to make a quick point about Quick Quack.
Yeah.
That unlimited car wash thing is pretty, it's a weird flex, but it's a good one. It's a really good flex just to be able to drive in, get your quick and like unlimited car washes for the month. You'll be looking right. So,
that's how you roll.
Yeah. Can I get one of those unlimited?
Oh, I thought you had one. You talk like
no,
you,
my parents have one. And so I'm always like,
okay.
wow, your guys' car looks great. Mine looks like I just drove it through, somebody's lawn, but
yeah.
Just,
well, there's an endorsement opportunity.
Exactly.
For you.
That's all I was trying to do. I'm trying to get that money. So, anyways, what was the sports thing you wanted to talk about?
A sports thing I wanted to talk about, if it's okay with you, is getting ready for this series between the Warriors and the Kings. And I think for as much as a lot of people are saying, the Warriors are the Warriors and the Kings, it's cute, but pat them on the head, blah blah blah. They don't really belong here in this series. The Warriors, there's at least 3 things this year that they do very poorly, very poorly, and the Kings have to take advantage For example, we know about the Warriors road record. We talked about that. Warriors on the road this year. And I know they finished with a flurry, and they beat the Blazers when they had nobody, and the Kings when they didn't play their starters. They beat the Mavs, but they were 11-30 on the road. Team that won an NBA championship, and then the next year comes out and goes 11-30.
Yeah, that's a real concern, right? Like, I mean, you can't just wash that off and be like, oh, again, like we can just flip the switch and like that might matter, but we can be completely different. Because if I'm not mistaken, actually, the Warriors have been really, really good on the road in the postseason, correct? Like that was a huge part of their playoff run last year. So for them to come out this season and just stink it up all season long on the road is, to me, that's another sign of potentially, again, like could we be overvaluing the experience and not looking at this team as a single entity of, this is what all of these stats say this exact team is. Why do we not believe it? That's a real question that I have for this Warriors team is, okay, there's a lot of numbers that point at like we're going to talk about this segment. There's a lot of numbers that point at a lot of real legitimate flaws. Are they legitimate, or are you just kind of playing possum for the entire season?
I could understand the argument that, a lot of that poor road record was built earlier in the year.
Sure.
Also, they managed their load a lot with older players. So there's a lot of those games on the road where they didn't have all of their best players, and they did play better later in the year. So I get all that. But that's not the most alarming aspect of the Warriors season. And it is something to keep an eye on, but okay, we'll see about that. The Warriors, I'm sure, would tell you, we get Wiggins back,
right.
Payne's back now. So what happened in November in Detroit is actually, that was October. As embarrassing as that was, it doesn't matter. We'll see about that. But the Warriors, they've always done this since they've had Steve Kerr as the coach. They tend to turn the ball over, I think, more than they should, Chris. I don't know about you, but you look at the turnover numbers for the Golden State Warriors, 16.3 per game.
Ugh.
How many teams are in the NBA right now?
There are 30.
Yeah, that ranks 30th in the entire NBA.
Gotcha.
And that's been a problem for them. It's been an issue for as long as Steve Kerr has been the coach. And if anything this year, I think it's gotten worse.
Yeah, it does feel like that has always been the Achilles heel of the Warriors. It sometimes feels like they try too hard to be that flashy, explosive. Because in their defense, when they are flashy and they are hitting their threes, it's kind of like what we talked about earlier, where it's like that's, again, another moment where their 9-0 runs feel like 15-20 because of the style and flair and ease at which they do it. It does hurt. But when it doesn't look good, it doesn't look good. And that's been a problem that's really plagued. It's kind of, if you want to point to any particular, it's kind of a Steph Curry problem. It's been a Curry problem since he's been in the league, is just, a lot of behind the back passes, a lot of just, not the attention to detail and not always making the simple play. I think there's definite benefits to it, but the harm is when you're in a situation like that, when you're turning the ball over 16 times, and when you're going against a Kings team that's really inexperienced, that's an exact thing that you look for as the experienced team is, okay, this other team is going to be the one that has the unforced turnovers, and that's where we capitalize. It's another really scary stat if you're a Warrior fan. That's a really real thing that could really affect the series in a major way.
It brings us to another one of the things that I think will be an absolute key to this series. Jordan Poole tends to turn the ball over a lot.
Yeah.
And I think Mike Brown probably knows better than most the best ways to defend Jordan Poole,
Absolutely.
who's been really inconsistent this year. And if the Kings can render him ineffective for long stretches, and if they can turn him into a turnover machine, that's going to go a long ways towards maximizing their chances of pulling off this. Can I call it an upset? I know that upset.
I think it's officially an upset.
Okay.
Now. It's officially, we're calling it an upset the rest of the week, at least.
Yeah.
I'm officially in where we are the underdog territory.
In addition to those turnovers, the Warriors have also been guilty at times of committing what Steve Kerr calls shot turnovers, which is basically just a bad shot. But the turnover and the bad shot are blood relatives.
Yeah.
And the Warriors this year, there are a lot of times when the offense bogs down and they got guys, they shoot, and you pointed this out, this, they shoot a lot of threes. Yeah.
A lot of
threes. Now, if they got ball movement and then someone shoots a good three, all right, that's part of their offense. But when they got nothing going on and someone's like, all right, let me try one, clank, that's when they're ineffective, and that's the team that the Kings have to try to bring out of the Warriors, but they have to do that by playing at least halfway solid defense.
I was going to say a lot easier said than done on that, right?
Yeah.
Just all you have to do is slow down the two greatest shooters of all time and the most winning team of this generation, and after that, you should be able to find success pretty easily.
Yeah, and you have to hope the Warriors give you a lot of help with that, because sometimes they unforced turnovers where they're just, what was that? A left-handed, one-handed pass from
unprofessional basketball,
one corner to the other sideline out of bounds. Yeah, and then thirdly and finally, the last thing the Warriors do very poorly this year, they foul a lot. And that's another thing that's been a problem for them for years. And it's gotten worse this year. 28th in the NBA in personal fouls.
Yeah, and how about this? Kings number 4 in fouls drawn. Maybe that could be a potential thing that the Kings could exploit here. If the Warriors are a team that does commit a lot of fouls, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, and Harrison Barnes have been able to get to the line more than anybody. As a matter of fact, the Kings put out a stat the other day that the Kings are the only team in the NBA with 3 players who have taken over 400 plus free throws. Third team to do that in the last 30 years. So if the Warriors are going to foul and not be able to defend without fouling, it plays right into the Kings' hand.
Yeah, I know this is a lot of numbers, but we try not to give you numbers unless they actually mean something. The Warriors' free throw attempts this year, 29th in the league out of 30 teams. Free throws by the other teams, they're 24th. So the disparity there, I think it's the greatest in the league. They don't get to the line much, and they send teams to the line a lot. And there you go. If you're looking at ways to beat the Warriors, Kings, and they know that, that's one absolute key to this series.
Going to have to make the free throws too, though. That's been a big problem for the. It's been a problem for the. It hasn't been as big of a problem this season. It's been a problem in seasons past.
And here and there, it's been an issue.
It's been an issue for sure, and it's been a problem that's plagued De'Aaron Fox throughout his career. Is just low free throw percentage. I think this season he had a career high 76%, but he has not shot free throws at a high clip, pretty much his entire career.
Coming up here, would it be okay with you if we talk to Rami?
Yeah, I think so. If he's around, we can.
You don't have to sit. It's okay.
Yeah, no,
you can. Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, that's cool with me. Rami's
All right.
good people.
Yes, looking forward to that. Rami's going to join us, and we'll look at just how spicy this series could actually get between the Kings and the Warriors. That's next year as we head down the home stretch on the Sactown Sports Playoff Push with Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports 1140.
The regular season is over. Now the real test begins.
KC, they'll have the home court advantage.
Sactown Sports is your home for all things Kings as they enter into a first-round matchup with the Warriors.
Fox steps into 3. He stops a triple, and the Kings have regained the lead. But against the explosive Warriors, you can't hold your breath.
Stay tuned to Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com for the most comprehensive Sacramento Kings playoff coverage.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please, gamble responsibly, 1-800-GAMBLER.
Warehouse Paint is where the local pros go for all of their paint project needs. Enjoy same-day turnarounds, same-day color matching, color consultation services, and free job site deliveries. With a large in-stock selection of PPG and Benjamin Moore paints and stains, and an expert sales team that is here to help, Warehouse Paint has exactly what you need to complete your next project. Visit warehousepaint.com to find a store near you. That's warehousepaint.com.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns. Here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan a Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan a Tool.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, the A's began the year with 6 rookies, and ranging from a 3-time All-Star in Japan, the right-handed pitcher Shintaro Fujinami, to a Rule 5 selection from the Dodgers, the first baseman Ryan Noda. Now, a note on Noda. On opening day, he became the second player in big league history to make his major league debut on opening day on his birthday.
You can't host movie night on your phone's hotspot. It's time for real home internet on the Xfinity 10G network. The future starts now. New customers can get 200 megabit Xfinity internet for just $25 a month for 2 years during our Xfinity 10G network launch celebration, now through April 23rd. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Actual speeds vary.
Whitey, Gleason, Chris Watkins, the Sactown Sports Playoff Push. We tipped off today, Chris. Ready to do it again tomorrow? Give it another try tomorrow?
I can't wait. I think we left a lot on the table today.
That's the hard part, right? Is bringing Rami from Kettles and Rami. That's the hard part. It's like, Christmas is coming, if it's not for another week, and you're getting something really sweet from Santa this year, and you just have to wait.
Yeah, you got the tip. You know something good is going to be under that tree. Yep. You probably peeked in the closet before Mom unwrapped the presents or something.
That's exactly what I told him earlier. I was definitely that guy who would poke a hole and you just try and squeeze it together, put some tape.
Yeah, for
Usually
sure.
It was never the same tape that my
parents used. I was every time, every year. I was trying to find them. But yeah, man, it's what's that? I'll go this way, Chris. Chris is directing me for the YouTube channel for those of you watching. Yeah, man, it is hard, and I don't know about you guys, and I know Nick, my co-host, is the same way. Like something like the playoffs happen, and doing what we do, I just sit down and puke all my possible Kings thoughts about the playoffs onto a piece of paper, and then somehow try and make that coherent and make a week out of shows out of it. Now that we have the play-in turn, I don't like the week in between, man.
Yeah,
it's too long a wait. You know what I mean? It's too long a wait.
After this just absolutely frenetic lead up to it, where yesterday was, I don't know what you were watching. I had the NBA Crunch Time on, trying to keep track of all the games and who's throwing punches at who and which teammates are getting into it, trying to sort it out. And, it was really, it's like, wow, this is really close this year. But it was too close and too dense where I got an ice cream headache trying to figure out all the possibilities.
Yeah, we closed out the show on Friday with me trying to figure out all the possibilities. And I'm sure I was wrong about at least half of the things that I said. It was impossible. It was an impossible combination to unlock leading up to it. So I was like, you know what? Let me just tell me who's in. You know what I mean?
That's exactly where I got. I was just to the point where people were asking me all weekend. So who are the Kings in a play? I was like, just wait till Sunday.
Listen,
the games are at noon
gonna be the
by
Warriors.
4.
Just calm down.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. How juicy do you think this is going to get? How spicy, I should say. We were talking about the fact that Friday night you had some Warrior fans, and I understand that sarcastically after the game, light the beam, light the beam. At this point, things are fairly respectful and cordial. All it's going to take is one incident involving Draymond or somebody, and this thing could get Well, I hope it doesn't get ugly, but it could get intense.
I hope it gets spicy. I like spicy.
I
I like spicy in my food and in my sports. I really do. And you know, Draymond is gonna try to make it spicy. He's gonna try to sprinkle some spice into
He wouldn't
it.
do that, would he?
And I'm all for like some back and forth. You just can't let that guy get in your head and get the best of you. You know what I mean? I was watching a game a few weeks ago. It was the Warriors and the Pelicans, and Brandon Ingram was on a heater. Brandon Ingram was cooking the Warriors. And Draymond started some stuff with them. You guys remember the game where he got into like 2 fights in 90 seconds?
Kicked
You know,
in the head.
and Brandon Ingram is losing his mind, and Draymond walks away laughing and clapping because he knows, like, I got him. I got him. I'm in his head. Whatever that hot streak was that he was on, he's not on it anymore.
CJ McCollum also lost his cool in that very game.
You can't let him get you to that point. But I'm all for a little back and forth and some spice, both on the court and in the stands. Keep it civil. You know, don't throw
absolutely.
Don't need malice in the palace part two or anything.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I'm all for a little back and forth, man. To me, that's part of what makes sports fun.
How many episodes of Draymond Green's podcast should we expect this series?
He has a week off.
Yeah.
He has a week off.
Right.
I don't know. Does he
maybe front load some episodes? You know, just record a couple in the week.
Alex
leading up?
Trebek?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pre-tape a couple of them.
Were you guys?
Drop,
and I know you
drop
guys talked
mid-game.
about this, so I don't mean to bring something up that you've already been over.
Sure.
But when Draymond said, "Oh yeah, they're a good team, but I wouldn't mind playing them because of the travel," was there any sort of resentment? I don't know. I don't think he needed to say that. But from Sacramento's standpoint, did you?
He
did that offend you at
reiterated
all?
it. He reiterated it
Yeah.
too, didn't he? After
Yeah.
the season finale, when we knew the matchup that it was going to be Kings and Warriors. I get what he's saying. He even said like it's got nothing to do with the matchup. He basically said it's not any disrespect to the Kings. It's just they think they can beat anybody, and an easier travel schedule just makes it that much more likely in Draymond's mind that they can beat anybody. You know what I mean? And he went through their travel last year in the playoffs. They went through what? Dallas, Denver.
They went through Denver, Memphis.
Then they had a
Dallas,
cross-country
Boston.
series in the finals with Boston. Like that's a lot, man. That I get what he's saying, but at the same time, like if the Kings were more feared, he would be more worried about the basketball than the travel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it is in a backhanded way a little bit of disrespect or not
He's smart enough
acknowledging
where, like you said earlier, he's
mind
aware of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
He's there's method to the madness.
I have to
For sure.
confess, I don't know about you guys. I was a little surprised, shouldn't have been, because this has been going on for years, but that the Warriors, that they fly to Sacramento.
Do they really?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an hour, 20 hour, 30 max of a bus ride. And it's probably like the whole process is probably an hour and a half long to get on the plane to load.
I
And
know. Pete Youngman on Twitter said Adelman always flew up to
That's interesting.
Really?
Flew to San Francisco, I guess. Yeah.
I wonder even like, will the team fly? I was wondering if they would if every night they're sleeping in their own beds, like even if
just fly back after the game
like,
or drive back after the game. Yeah, I mean, why not?
Why not?
I would
That's
rather
my
sleep in my own bed.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Then,
you got to
some
take the
hotel
bus
room
because
for
you want to
sure.
stop at the Nut Tree. And you want to go right to the outlet
Sonic's on the
stores.
way, too.
Yeah. So
Just
I
a
don't
team
understand.
bonding.
Yeah, that's
I went
the
to
whole
San
point of it.
Francisco this weekend to go to the Giants game, and there's just random traffic jams. Maybe they're as annoyed by that as I am. Like you're in the middle of nowhere, dude. You're in the middle of nothing and nowhere.
And you're
All that's
stuck there.
around is like hills and cows. And for some reason, everybody stopped. Like, what are y'all stopping for?
Sounds like that Fairfield
Vallejo,
Vacaville
yeah,
section.
Vacaville, exactly.
So
Doing some road work.
and I was literally punching my steering wheel, making the drive there.
Which day was that? Which day was that?
Saturday, I went to the game.
Okay, well, that was not a happy day to be going to the Giants game, was
No,
it?
it wasn't. That was but that was my first time at that park.
Oh,
Man, that is a
top tier.
gorgeous ballpark.
Doesn't get
Gorgeous.
better.
Yeah.
You're a big baseball guy.
Love baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my number one true love.
Really?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Were the fans just stunned that day, the way that game turned so quickly?
I think everybody was so like it was a beautiful day out, and it was the second home game of the season. I didn't sense a ton of heartbreak or depression or despair on my way out of the park. Maybe it's because I'm not a Giants fan, so maybe I just wasn't picking up the vibe. But it was a really good. If you're a baseball fan, really good, entertaining game. The
Quick
pitch
pace.
clock. My first time seeing the pitch clock in a long time. I heard a guy in the beer line, and he was like, "Man, the game moves so fast."
Yeah.
He was like, "We got here as late as we usually do, and it was already the 5th inning. So you gotta, if you're a
you gotta adjust.
If you're a baseball fan and you're like a late comer to games, normally it's your late comerism has to be a little earlier. You know what I mean? If you're like somebody who likes to show up in the 2nd or 3rd inning, that's like half an hour, 40 minutes into the game now with this new game.
I know you don't want to tip your hand here because you got Cattles and Ramey and the whole show coming up here, but what are you looking for in the play-in tournament? How excited should we be? I'm glued to every possession. The play-in tournament.
You know who just became really intriguing in the play-in tournament is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Right? Drama sells, baby. Drama sells.
That just became real interesting, did it not? That whole situation there, and they were interesting last year just on the fact that they got there. You know what I mean?
On the scores table.
They were like you had Pat Bev jumping up on the scores table. That's interesting to me, dude. LeBron is in the play. I mean, there's a lot of good. First of all, just good players and star power in the play-in tournament, but a lot of good storylines and matchups and intrigue. The play-in tournament this year is about as good as it's been since they came out. And I didn't like it at first. I've come around on the play-in.
I almost got physically ill last week when LeBron said, I was talking to AD, and I said, we have a winning record. That's pretty cool. Come on.
Yeah,
how about lower? You're the Lakers.
It's a much lower bar than when he was going. Not one, not two, not 3.
9 straight finals appearances. And
I was like 42 wins. What?
What do you guys have coming up?
Obviously, a lot of Kings talk all afternoon long. We'll also go through the Timberwolves drama. Frankie Cardicelli, our Kings reporter here at Sactown Sports, he'll join us at 3:30, and all the fun that we usually have on Cattles and Ramey.
Thank you for listening. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. See you tomorrow.
Let's do it tomorrow.
Cattles and Ramey next, right here, Sactown Sports 1140.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Hey, my mom, Frankie, my mom